Chapter 1422. The mysterious lady said angrily, "Kid, don't go too far. Be careful or I'll fall out with you." Although he had a vicious look on his face, his expression was very unnatural. Okay. I won't say any more." Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand, but his eyes were very ambiguous. He was now sure that the relationship between this woman and the ancestor was definitely not ordinary. However, he also knew that there was a limit to everything. The mysterious lady was not a kind person. If he angered her, even if Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin joined forces, they would not be able to stop the mysterious lady from killing him. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Senior, I can help take care of your daughter, but I can only say that I will try my best. I can't guarantee 100%. After all, you just said that the divine sight is not ordinary. It must be 100%. There is no room for negotiation. There is one more thing you have to remember. If someone around you breaks through to the false god realm on the first floor, they will be directly sent to the second floor by the power of the divine sight. Also, be careful of Lu Xingchen. This time, the chief pagoda will help you because of Lu Xingchen." After the mysterious lady finished speaking, she did not give Qin Feiyang a chance to speak. She opened the window, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared without a trace. What a strong woman. Lu Jiajin shook his head and smiled. "Isn't that so? I am afraid of trouble, but she threw me such a big trouble. It seems that after entering the divine sight, I will have to value her daughter's life more than my own," Qin Feiyang said helplessly. Lu Jiajin shook his head and asked, "Have you seen her daughter?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "How is her cultivation?" Lu Jiajin asked. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said, "I remember the last time we met, she had broken through to the 9-star combat emperor realm." Lu Jiajin was surprised and said, "She is so strong, what are you worried about? Maybe at a critical moment, she can help you." "I hope so." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. Then he frowned and said, "But I don't understand. Why did she say that the main tower came to help me because of Lu Xingchen?" Elder Qin pondered for a moment and said, "Could it be that after Lu Xingchen went to the Forgotten Continent, he secretly reached some kind of agreement with the tower? This shouldn't be. The hatred between the Mu Jia and the HQ is as deep as the sea. If you say that Lu Xingchen brought people to attack the HQ, I can still believe it. But I don't believe that he reached some kind of agreement with the HQ, Qin Feiyang pondered. Lu Jiajin said, "You must know that there are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal benefits." "Benefits," Qin Feiyang murmured. He suddenly stood up and said with a smile, "Let's go, we will sneak into the main tower and take a look. You guys probably haven't been to the Central Divine Kingdom before, so I will take you guys for a stroll." He had to investigate this matter thoroughly, or else he would feel uneasy. Imperial Palace. Some people's legs were already numb from kneeling. One of them said, "Emperor Hong, Imperial Preceptor, are we really going to keep kneeling like this?" Emperor Hong said, "If you can't kneel, then get lost, so as not to be an eyesore here." The man's gaze trembled, and he hurriedly lowered his head, not daring to say a word. Whoosh! At this moment, a figure broke through the air and landed beside the Imperial Preceptor. It was Yen Wei. Yen Wei looked at the Imperial Preceptor and Emperor Hong with schadenfreude, and then whispered a few words in the Imperial Preceptor's ear. Of course. This schadenfreude, he definitely didn't dare to show it. What? After hearing Yen Wei's words, the Imperial Preceptor suddenly stood up, his old face full of shock. What? Emperor Hong looked at him suspiciously. The Imperial Preceptor hurriedly moved closer to Emperor Hong's ear and whispered, "My subordinate reported that His Majesty Hao Tian just took a potential pill." Emperor Hong's face froze, and he suddenly roared, "Why did he do this? Does he not want to live?" The imperial preceptor said in a deep voice, "Now is not the time to be angry. We must hurry up and save him, or else he will definitely explode and die." Swish! Emperor Hong immediately got up and tore through the air like lightning. The imperial preceptor also brought Yen Wei and quickly chased after him. What happened this time? Why are you in such a hurry? Seeing this scene, everyone present was bewildered. Someone asked, "Then do we still have to continue kneeling? The two lords have already left, what are we still kneeling for? Hurry up and leave, lest Qin Feiyang bump into us, we won't have a good fruit to eat." Hearing this, everyone bowed to the statue one after another, then got up and opened the teleportation gate, fleeing for their lives. Central Divine Kingdom. Deep in the main tower, in a courtyard, Chief Pagoda Master, Gong Sunbei, and Wang Su sat around a stone table, their faces gloomy, silent, as if they were waiting for something. Swish! Suddenly, accompanied by the sound of breaking through the air, a young man cut through the sky and landed in the courtyard. It was young Master Hao. After experiencing that incident, the current young Master Hao had undergone earth-shaking changes. Not only did his cultivation become stronger, but his whole person also seemed mature and steady, exuding a threatening aura all over his body. "Father, Elder Wang, Brother Gongsun, I just received news that you went to the imperial capital to help Qin Feiyang." As soon as young Master Hao appeared, he angrily walked toward the three. "Yes." Chief Pagoda Master looked up at him and nodded. "Why do you want to help him? Wasn't the lesson from back then enough?" Young Master Hao roared. Chief Pagoda Master clenched his hands and didn't say anything. Gong Sunbei glanced at Chief Pagoda Master, then looked at young Master Hao and sighed, "If we had a choice, we wouldn't help him." "What do you mean? Who's forcing you?" Young Master Hao raised his eyebrows. "Shut up." Chief Pagoda Master slapped the stone table and suddenly stood up. Like an angry beast, he stared at young Master Hao and said, "What qualifications do you have to meddle in our affairs? Get lost and go back to cultivate." Young Master Hao was also angry and roared, "I don't have the qualifications to meddle in your affairs, but at least I know that a person must have a backbone." Backbone? If you really have a backbone, why do you still keep those potential pills that Qin Feiyang gave you? If you have the ability, throw them all away. Chief Pagoda Master shouted. "Master, your words are a little too much." "Junior brother, Master didn't mean it. Don't take it to heart." Seeing that the situation was not good, Gong Sunbei quickly stood out to persuade him. Young Master Hao remained silent, but his hands were tightly clenched together, and his face was ashen. "Look at yourself. After cultivating for so long, you only broke through to the 4-star Battle Saint realm. Look at Qin Feiyang. How long has it been? He has already broken through to the 4-star Battle Emperor realm. A 4-star Battle Saint and a 4-star Battle Emperor is a whole realm apart. Do you know what this means? All day long, you still want to take revenge on Qin Feiyang. Do you have the ability? Can you catch up to Qin Feiyang?" The Chief Pagoda Master became angrier and angrier as he spoke. In the end, he was almost roaring. Young Master Hao's body and mind trembled, and his face was full of pain. Gong Sunbei couldn't bear it and was about to comfort him, but Wang Su reached out and stopped him. He transmitted his voice, "Don't worry about it. This child has to go through this to stimulate his potential." Gong Sunbei thought to himself, but isn't using such a method a little too cruel? Desperate times call for desperate measures. Although he may hate Chief Pagoda Master now, when he grows up and matures, he will understand Chief Pagoda Master's painstaking efforts today. Wang Su said. Sigh. Gong Sunbei sighed. From a fair point of view, he didn't think that young Master Hao could catch up to Qin Feiyang. Because Qin Feiyang's speed of growth was obvious to everyone. To catch up to him, one had to be a peerless genius that was rarely seen in a million years. Although young Master Hao's talent wasn't bad, he was still a long way from such a peerless genius. However, he couldn't say these words out loud. Firstly, he was afraid of angering the chief pagoda master. Secondly, he was afraid of hurting young Master Hao's confidence. Seeing young Master Hao standing there motionlessly and not saying anything, the chief pagoda master became angry and shouted, "Why aren't you getting lost? Do you want me to personally send you out?" Young Master Hao let go of his hand, looked up at the chief pagoda master, opened the portal and walked in without looking back. It seems that he has suffered a big blow this time. Gongsun Bei sighed deeply. If he doesn't understand and work hard, he won't just suffer a blow, he'll die. In fact, I don't expect him to catch up to Qin Feiyang now. After all, his talent is still far from enough. And this time, Qin Feiyang will also enter the divine sight. When he comes back alive, his talent will definitely be even more amazing. But I just can't accept it. Why is Qin Baishan's descendant so outstanding and my descendant so weak? I don't want to lose to Qin Badian again. Do you understand? The chief pagoda master looked at the two and roared in pain. Gongsun Bei and Wang Su looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. Don't want to lose to the ancestor again? What kind of grudge does he have with the ancestor? In the ancient castle. Qin Feiyang looked at the chief pagoda master on the screen and frowned. He knew where the chief pagoda master lived, so as soon as he entered the central divine kingdom, he immediately drove the ancient castle and rushed here. Therefore, he heard the chief pagoda master's words. Old Qin looked at the chief pagoda master and the other two, then looked at Qin Feiyang and asked suspiciously, "Did the late emperor stay in the Forgotten Continent for a long time?" "I'm not sure about that. However, on the divine island in the Blue Sea, there was a murderous intent left by the mermaid emperor. The barrier in the inland sea was also set up by the ancestor. And in the inheritance place of the chief pagoda, there is a statue of the ancestor. In short, there are many clues about the ancestor left here." Qin Feiyang said. The mermaid emperor. Old Qin's eyes trembled slightly. This legendary existence was the most powerful war god by the side of the late emperor. If he was lucky enough to see the real face, he would die without regrets. Time passed little by little. About half an hour passed. Whoosh! Suddenly, an old figure descended in the sky above the courtyard. "It's him." Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. The person who came was Mu Chongyun. This Mu family and the chief pagoda actually colluded? Old Qin frowned. At the same time. Chapter 1423. Lu Xingchen, I'd like to see what kind of tricks you are playing. Qin Feiyang murmured. Whoosh! Mu Zhongyun took a step forward and landed in front of the three people. The three immediately greeted him. The Tower Lord said, "I have done what I promised you." "Where is it?" Mu Zhongyun said. "Don't worry, bring the Lord here first." The Tower Lord said. "Can you trust the Mu Jia people? What if you go back on your word when I bring the Lord here? Is my Mu Jia as bad as you say?" Mu Zhongyun snorted. The Tower Lord said. "We have been together for so many years, do you think I don't know? Good. This old man will give it to you first." Mu Zhongyun's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he took out an iron box from his arms. The iron box was palm-sized, as if it was made of divine iron. It was full of a hard texture. "What you want is inside." After Mu Zhongyun finished speaking, he waved his hand and threw the jade box to the chief tower master. The Tower Lord quickly caught it in his hand. He looked quite excited as he opened the iron box. A cluster of alchemy fire suddenly appeared in everyone's sight. Heat waves rolled. Heavenly astral flame. Wang Su and Gongsun Bei murmured. With this flame, your tower can let people enter the miracle. Speaking of which, you are making a profit. Mu Zhongyun sneered. Don't make sarcastic remarks. The heavenly astral flame, including the other 9 kinds of alchemy fire, originally belonged to our tower. It's you who shamelessly robbed us. Otherwise, it's not me begging you now, it's you begging me. The Tower Lord roared. When he thought of this matter, his heart felt suffocated. The strong are respected, don't you understand? Mu Zhongyun smiled disdainfully. Hurry up and bring the Lord here, don't play tricks, otherwise, your tower will definitely suffer in the end. The Tower Lord's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Gongsun Bei, bring him here immediately. Although Mu Zhongyun's words were a threat, he could only be threatened. Because now the world knows that the relationship between Lu Xingchen and Qin Feiyang is very good, and the relationship between Qin Feiyang and the mysterious madam is also very complicated. In other words, if they become enemies with Lu Xingchen, the tower will face a 3-way attack. With the combined might of the 3 parties, his main pagoda was unable to deal with them. Gongsun Bei nodded and soared into the air, quickly disappearing. Chief Pagoda Master withdrew the heavenly astral flames and looked at Mu Zhongyun. There's something I don't understand. Mu Zhongyun coldly said. Chief Pagoda Master said, last time, Qin Feiyang tricked your Mu Jia so miserably, why are you still helping him now? You even let my tower. This is the decision of the higher-ups. I can't interfere, and I don't dare to interfere. Mu Zhongyun said. Of the tower? Could it be Lu Xingchen? The chief tower master frowned. Shue. Mu Zhongyun nodded. Who is he? Even you have to be so respectful to him? The tower lord was suspicious. He is the lord of my Mu Jia. His decision is our decision. By the way, don't think about dealing with the lord. Otherwise, my Mu Jia will use the power of the whole family to fight against your tower. Mu Zhongyun said. The Tower Lord and Wang Su looked at each other. They didn't expect that Lu Xingchen's position in the Mu Jia's heart was so high. They also investigated Lu Xingchen's identity. But the result of the investigation was only Lu Xingchen's identity and deeds in the Great Qin Empire. They didn't know anything about his relationship with the Mu Jia. Whoosh! Soon. Gongsun Bei carried a middle-aged man in ragged clothes and landed beside the 3 of them. Ancestor Yun. Looking at Mu Zhongyun, the middle-aged man suddenly shouted excitedly. This person is Mu Qing's father, the lord of the Mu Jia. From his appearance, it can be seen that he has been tortured in the tower during this time. This old man came to pick you up on the orders of the lord. Mu Zhongyun said and looked at Gongsun Bei. Gongsun Bei looked at the Tower Lord. The Tower Lord nodded. With the Tower Lord's permission, Gongsun Bei let go of the Mu Jia's lord. The Mu Jia's lord immediately ran behind Mu Zhongyun and stared at the Tower Lord with eyes full of hatred. Let's go. Mu Zhongyun looked at the Tower Lord and opened a portal and said to the Mu Jia's lord. When the Mu Jia's lord heard this, he quickly ran in. Wait. Just as Mu Zhongyun was about to enter the portal, the Tower Lord suddenly spoke. Is there anything else? Mu Zhongyun stopped and asked without turning his head. The Tower Lord said in a deep voice. I hope you can keep the matter of the past a secret. This depends on the Lord's intention. This old man can't make the decision. After Mu Zhongyun finished speaking, he stepped into the portal. The teleportation gate soon dissipated as well. Gongsun Bei retracted his gaze and asked suspiciously. My lord, what did you just say? Wang Su also looked at him suspiciously. No matter what, don't ask, just do your job well, and, the Tower Lord looked at Wang Su and said. You go to the imperial capital in person and ask the state preceptor. I think he should know the details of Lu Xingchen. Good. Wang Su nodded. Go back. The Tower Lord waved his hand. Gong Sun Bei looked at each other and turned around and strode away. The chief tower master stood alone in the courtyard with his hands tightly clenched together. He looked up at the sky, and a trace of hostility that could not be dissipated crept up his forehead. Qin Feiyang, Lu Xingchen, Mu Jia, you just wait, I will make you pay the price sooner or later. Inside the castle. Old Man Qin suddenly said. It turns out that they didn't cooperate, it's just a deal. Qin Feiyang also breathed a sigh of relief. But then, his brows wrinkled. What's the problem? Seeing this, Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then he raised his head to look at the two people and said, I know Lu Xingchen too well. He wouldn't care about someone like the Mu Jia's patriarch, but why would he exchange the heavenly star flames with the main tower? You know, one more pill fire is equal to 1,000 more spots. Is there such a possibility? He used the heavenly flames to trade with the Tower Lord, mainly to help you rescue the Mu Jia's Lord. Is it just an additional condition? Lu Jiajin said. Impossible. If he wants to help me, Mu Changfeng and Mu Changyun's strength is more than enough, there's no need to ask the Tower Lord. So I concluded that asking the Tower Lord to help me is an additional condition, he really wants to save the Mu Jia's Lord. Qin Feiyang said. Speaking of this, he suddenly seemed to think of something, his face showed a look of understanding, he smiled and said. I think I know why. Why? Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin were puzzled. It must be for the sake of Mu Qing. Mu Qing's eye of heaven is the most important thing to the Mu Jia. If Lu Xingchen doesn't save the Mu Jia's Lord, it is very likely to cause Mu Qing's dissatisfaction and even rebellion. So, in order to appease Mu Qing, he reluctantly gave up the pill fire in exchange for the Mu Jia's Lord. Qin Feiyang smiled. It makes sense. If it were me, I would also meet all the conditions of Mu Qing. Lu Jiajin nodded. Old Man Qin also nodded in agreement, suddenly looked up at Qin Feiyang and asked. Where is the Mu Jia's nest? Want to see it? Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Old Man Qin nodded. It's useless. Even if I take you there, you can't enter the Mu Jia. Because the entire Mu Jia is protected by a barrier. Although I sneaked into the Mu Jia last time and got a key to open the barrier, they will certainly rearrange it in order to prevent me from entering the Mu Jia again. In other words, the key on my body is useless now. Qin Feiyang said. That's a pity. Old Man Qin said with disappointment. Qin Feiyang smiled and said. I will take you to the island and the inner sea to see the killing intent of the Mermaid Emperor, as well as the barrier arranged by the ancestors. This can be done. Lu Jiajin was surprised, his face was full of longing. Immediately. Qin Feiyang steered the ancient castle and silently left the main tower. Soon after, he opened the teleportation gate and entered the mythical island. At the same time, the Mu Jia. Mu Changyun brought the Mu Jia's Lord back alive. The happiest person was Mu Qing. Because the Mu Jia's Lord is the only person closest to him in this world. After seeing Lu Xingchen, the father and son left happily. Mu Zhongyun stayed by Lu Xingchen's side. Is there anything else? Lu Xingchen looked at him suspiciously. Last time, although Qin Feiyang was the mastermind, the one who did it was the main tower. The blood feud must be avenged. Father, do you think we should announce the matter of that year to the world? Mu Changyun asked. Lu Xingchen was silent. If the world knows that the previous generation's lord was murdered by the current lord, I think whether it is the people of the main tower or the major tribes, they will all go to crusade against him. Mu Changyun sneered. Lu Xingchen said. But don't forget that you also killed the previous generation's lord. This doesn't matter, right? With the strength of the Wuxia, even if the world knows, they won't dare to do anything to us. But the Lord is different. Once this matter is exposed, the situation he will face will definitely be one of betrayal and isolation. Only death awaits him. Mu Chongyun said. I think it's better to put this matter aside for now. The miracle is about to open, I don't want to make any trouble at this time. After all, Qin Feiyang is not a person who is easy to deal with. If we fall out with the main tower, he will definitely take the opportunity to intervene. This way, it will not benefit our Wuxia at all. Moreover, there is still a trace of a bond between Qin Feiyang and the main tower that is difficult to cut off. Lu Xingchen said. Qin Feiyang and the main tower have fallen out, what else can there be? Mu Chongyun was suspicious. Young Master Hao, Wang Yu, According to my investigation in the past 2 days, although Qin Feiyang had a falling out with them, he gave them medicinal pills that could open the door to their potentials when they were falling out. This is enough to show that Qin Feiyang still cares about them. In addition, there is also Gong Sunbei. Although this person is attached to the Lord, he is much smarter than the Lord. With him, we won't be able to gain any advantage. At most, both sides will suffer. Lu Xingchen said. Understood. Mu Chongyun nodded. Lu Xingchen waved his hand and said. Okay, you go do your work. There are some things I have to think about. Yes. Old man Qin was stunned and said with a wry smile, it's really chaotic because of concern, but are we just going to ignore it? The State Preceptor and Emperor Hong are both peak semi-divinity realm existences. They will definitely have a way. You don't have to worry too much. Qin Feiyang comforted. Little cousin, that's not necessarily true. But before Qin Feiyang's voice faded, Lu Jiajin suddenly said. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Lu Jiajin didn't answer but asked instead, let me ask you first. Have you experienced the pain of failing to open the door of potential before? Qin Feiyang shook his head. Not only him, but the people and beasts around him also didn't. Using the small creation pill to open the door of potential was one thing, but the small creation pill and the potential pill were two completely different concepts. Even if the small creation pill failed to open the door of potential, it wouldn't have any impact on the self. Lu Jiajin said, you haven't experienced it, but someone in our village has. What happened to them in the end? Qin Feiyang asked. He couldn't help but feel uneasy in his heart. I believe you also know that using the potential pill and the potential pill to open the door of potential, once it fails, one's cultivation will be crippled and one's vitality will be greatly damaged. In the worst case, one's body will explode and blood will splatter on the spot. Lu Jiajin said. I know. Qin Feiyang nodded. Although it said so, after failing, the probability of losing one's life is extremely high. Since ancient times, there should be 200 to 300 people who failed, but in the end, there are less than 10 who succeeded and survived. As for those who died, second grandpa also tried everything to save them, but in the end, it didn't work at all. You have to know that they are all people with cultivation and meet the conditions to open the door of potential. Even they will die, let alone the little prince. Right now, the little prince has probably just come into contact with cultivation. In other words, he's just an ordinary child. And he's still so young. With his weak body, he won't be able to withstand the enormous energy of the potential pill. So I think that even with the Imperial Preceptor and Emperor Hong here, the little prince's life will be difficult to protect this time. Lu Jiajin said. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang's heart couldn't help but sink. He didn't expect that after failing, the chances of survival would be so small. Feiyang, the little prince is your younger brother, you can't just ignore him. Moreover, if you're not interested in the throne, then someone has to manage the great Qin Empire in the future, right? And right now, His Majesty only has you and the little prince, 2 sons. If the little prince dies, what will happen to great Qin in the future? Old man Qin said anxiously. Don't worry. Qin Feiyang comforted her. He looked at Yan Wei and said, go back immediately and keep an eye on him. If the situation becomes more and more serious, immediately think of a way to spread this matter. Only when it reaches the point where everyone knows about it, can I go and help him. That's simple. Yan Wei smiled confidently, and the phantom quickly dissipated. Lu Jiajin asked, little cousin, if the little prince's situation really reaches an irreversible point, how do you plan to help him? I don't know either. I really don't understand why he was so impulsive. Isn't this treating his life as a game? Qin Feiyang was very angry. Old man Qin sighed, he's still so young, how can he understand these things? I reckon that he must have been blinded by hatred. I think so too. Lu Jiajin nodded, looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, he hates you and wants to avenge his mother. Moreover, back then, Emperor Hong personally announced that you killed the emperor. His hatred for you must be getting stronger and stronger. But your cultivation is too high, he has no chance to take revenge. So, he yearns to become stronger quickly, so he secretly took the potential pill. And he's so young, probably no one told him the consequences of using the potential pill carelessly. Lu Jiajin said. Is this still my fault? Qin Feiyang frowned. It's not your fault, because no matter who it is, they would do the same. It's that woman who's wrong. As the Empress of Great Qin, she actually didn't abide by the virtue of a woman. It's Emperor Hong who's wrong. If he didn't slander you for killing the emperor, the little prince's hatred for you wouldn't be so strong. Old man Qin said gloomily. Emperor Hong and that woman were the culprits of all this. But after saying that, old man Qin suddenly thought of something, his body trembled slightly, looked at Qin Feiyang and Lu Jiajin, and said, I thought of a way that can definitely save the little prince. What way? The two looked at him in surprise. Fire of life. Old man Qin said word by word. Yeah, how could I forget it? Qin Feiyang's spirit was shaken, but then it dripped down again, and said, I used to have a fire of life, but it was fused by me, mother, or fatso, where can I find it now? But Qin Feiyang didn't notice that when he heard the words fire of life, Lu Jiajin's eyes flickered. And when old man Qin heard Qin Feiyang's words, his expression also became dejected. That's right. Fire of life was such a precious thing, either it had not been discovered in some dangerous place, or it was in the hands of some expert. This kind of thing was completely dependent on chance and luck, it couldn't be forced. Lu Jiajin looked at the two of them, hesitated for a moment, and said, my Lu family has 2 clusters of fire of life. What? The two of them immediately looked at Lu Jiajin. Lu Jiajin said, in the hands of second grandpa. Please, you must save the little prince. Old man Qin was wild with joy, even forgetting his identity, directly kneeling in the air, begging Lu Jiajin. Lu Jiajin immediately went forward to support old man Qin, and said, Senior, don't be like this junior can't bear it. Old man Qin stood up, firmly holding onto Lu Jiajin's hand, unwilling to let go, his eyes begging. Lu Jiajin laughed helplessly, turned to look at Qin Feiyang, and said, think about it carefully, are you sure you want to save the little prince? If you are sure, I will immediately go back and discuss this matter with second grandpa. I'm sure. Qin Feiyang nodded, not considering it at all. Lu Jiajin looked deeply at Qin Feiyang, and nodded, all right, then let's go back. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened the teleportation gate. The 3 of them appeared in the air above an uninhabited forest outside the imperial city. Following that, Qin Feiyang brought the 2 of them into the castle, and then drove the castle towards the gate of time and space like lightning. Old Man Qin was very excited along the way. But suddenly, his expression froze as he turned to look at Lu Jiajin. Only now did he realize that he still did not know the identity of this person. Because Lu Jiajin had been wearing a mask the entire time, he had not revealed his true appearance. Of course, even if Lu Jiajin did not wear a mask, Old Man Qin might not be able to recognize him. After all, Lu Jiajin had never appeared outside before. Old Man Qin looked at Lu Jiajin and cupped his hands. "Oh right, I have yet to ask for your name. You should be able to guess it." Lu Jiajin laughed. "Can you guess it?" Old Man Qin was slightly taken aback as he lowered his head and pondered. Calling Qin Feiyang as his cousin, and also a member of the Lu family, and also a false god. Suddenly, Old Man Qin's gaze trembled as he raised his head to look at Lu Jiajin, and said in shock, "Are you Lu Jiajin?" "That's me." Lu Jiajin smiled and nodded. "How is this possible? If this old man remembers correctly, you and Zhuge Mingyang are the same age, but you have already broken through to the false god realm?" Old Man Qin looked at him with his mouth agape. "Good luck." Lu Jiajin smiled. "Luck?" Old Man Qin heard this and shook his head with a bitter smile. To step into the false god realm in just a few hundred years, could this be called luck? This was called a peerless talent. "This old man has long heard of your name, but I didn't expect your talent to be so amazing. The world only knows that Zhuge Mingyang is the #1 monster in the imperial capital, but they don't know that the real #1 monster has been cultivating in a low-key manner. However, this old man admires your temperament." Old Man Qin laughed. "Senior, you are flattering me." Lu Jiajin waved his hand modestly. Old Man Qin shook his head with a smile and did not say anything else. He only sighed in his heart. Qin Feiyang was already a monster, and now there was Lu Jiajin. With these two brothers working together, who among the younger generation would be able to compete with them in the future? Chapter 1425. After returning to the imperial city, Lu Jiajin immediately opened the portal and returned to the Lu family. Qin Feiyang and Old Man Qin were waiting at the Black Dragon pool. Qin Feiyang was fine, just a little worried in his heart. But Old Man Qin was like an ant on a hot pan, falling into an extremely anxious and uneasy state. He couldn't wait to run to the imperial palace and see the little prince's situation with his own eyes, but he didn't lose his mind. Time passed little by little. Buzz. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's image crystal rang. Qin Feiyang hurriedly took out the image crystal, and Yan Wei's shadow appeared again. "How is it?" Old Man Qin couldn't wait to ask. Yan Wei shook his head and said, "The life fluctuations are already dissipating, and the Imperial Preceptor and Emperor Hong have already done their best." "Damn it!" Old Man Qin roared. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and asked, "Did you find a way to spread the news?" "Yes. Before, I secretly led a few palace maids and eunuchs, pretending to be unintentional, and entered the little prince's palace. Now the news has already spread in the imperial palace. Civil and military officials are also on the way." Yan Wei smiled. "Well done. You go back and keep an eye on it, I'll be there later." Qin Feiyang said. "Okay." Yan Wei nodded, and the shadow disappeared into thin air. "He's been gone for so long, why hasn't he come back yet?" Old Man Qin anxiously glanced around. "He just went back, how can he be so fast?" Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. In fact, he also understood that Old Man Qin was not concerned about the little prince, but the future of Great Qin. The little prince had just ascended the throne, and the turmoil had not yet subsided. If at this time, the little prince was killed again, then the people of Great Qin would definitely fall into a state of extreme panic. Of course, Qin Feiyang would not let the little prince have an accident. Because in this way, the emperor was very likely to take the opportunity to come back and seize the imperial power. In short, as long as he was here, he would not allow the empire of Great Qin to fall into the hands of this incapable emperor again. At this moment, for old man Qin, a day was like a year. Swish! Finally, Lu Jiajin appeared in front of them. Qin Feiyang stepped forward and asked, "How is it?" Lu Jiajin took out a jade box from his bosom and handed it to Qin Feiyang. Just as Qin Feiyang was about to reach for it, old man Qin snatched the jade box from Lu Jiajin's hand and quickly opened it. Immediately, a majestic life force surged out of the jade box like a torrent. He looked inside the jade box again. A clump of flames the size of an infant's fist lay silently within it. It was completely dark green as if it was carved from a piece of divine jade, and it emanated a sparkling and translucent mist of light. Qin Feiyang glanced at the flame and nodded. It's the flame of life. In this world, there should be no one who understood the fire of life better than him. Hearing this, Elder Qin was ecstatic. He immediately closed the lid of the box and opened the portal. He said anxiously, let's go to the little prince's palace immediately." Qin Feiyang and Lu Jiajin looked at each other, shook their heads and smiled, and then entered the portal one after another. Whoosh! The next moment, the three of them landed in the air above a palace. The palace had 2 floors. It was resplendent and tall. On the 2 thick stone pillars in front of the door, there were 2 lifelike 5-clawed golden dragons carved on them. The 5-clawed golden dragon was the symbol of the emperor. And at this moment, the palace gate was tightly shut. Yan Wei brought a group of palace maids, eunuchs, and guards to stand in front of the gate. "Such a big thing has happened, yet you still hide it from us. Do the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong still care about us? Let us in. There's strength in numbers. Maybe we'll have a way to save His Majesty's life." It was very noisy here. A group of ministers gathered at the bottom of the steps outside the gate, staring angrily at Yan Wei. Yan Wei raised his eyebrows and said, "Without the orders of Emperor Hong and the imperial tutor, I really don't dare to let you in without permission. Please don't make things difficult for me." "What are you talking about? Can't you see that we are concerned about His Majesty? You dog slave, relying on the support of the imperial tutor, you're like a fox pretending to be a tiger in front of us all day long. Let me tell you, we must go in today. If you insist on not moving aside, then don't blame us for being impolite to you." A few senior officials shouted at Yan Wei in a stern voice. Scram! But suddenly, a shout rang out in the sky. This voice, everyone's eyes trembled as they immediately raised their heads to look. Their expressions changed drastically. Qin Feiyang. Why would he come to the imperial palace? And at this time? Swish! Qin Feiyang took a step forward and landed in front of the main hall. Old Qin and Lu Jiajin followed closely behind him. "Qin Feiyang, what are you trying to do? Do you want to take advantage of His Majesty Hao Tian's crisis to snatch the throne? Stop dreaming. Even if His Majesty Hao Tian really unfortunately dies, even if you snatch the imperial jade seal, wear the dragon robe and sit on the dragon throne, we will not admit that you are the Emperor of Great Qin. And you, old Qin, please don't help the evildoers anymore." The civil and military officials quickly blocked in front of Qin Feiyang and the other 2, roaring with righteous indignation. "Scram as far as you can. The little prince's life was at stake, how could old Qin be in the mood to talk nonsense with them?" Boom! Woo woo! Old Qin directly waved his hand, the wind whistled, and the people in front of him suddenly fell down. Then, the 3 of them walked up the steps. But at this time, Yan Wei suddenly opened his hands, blocking Qin Feiyang and the other two, shouting, "You are not allowed to go in." He still had to act. After all, the imperial tutor was inside. Old Qin looked at Qin Feiyang. If it was before, he would definitely not hesitate to attack Yan Wei. But now, he knew that Yan Wei was one of Qin Feiyang's men, so before he made a move, he had to first ask for Qin Feiyang's opinion. Bear with it. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he secretly sent a message to Yan Wei. Then, he took a step forward and slapped Yan Wei's chest with his palm. Ah! With a blood-curdling scream, Yan Wei was like a meteor, directly smashing through the door of the palace, and then smashing into the ground inside the main hall. The ground immediately shattered, creating a huge crater. The moment the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong heard the commotion, they immediately turned their heads to look at Qin Feiyang and the other two, their eyes flashing with a fierce light. Yan Wei crawled up in a sorry state, ran to the imperial tutor's side, and said, "Master, I'm sorry, I really can't stop them." The imperial tutor said, "Retreat to the side." "Yes." Yan Wei respectfully replied and quickly retreated to the side. While glancing at Qin Feiyang and the other two and the imperial tutor, he rubbed his aching chest and pursed his lips into a mocking smile. Qin Feiyang stepped into the hall. Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin followed behind Qin Feiyang, one on the left and one on the right, their eyes filled with vigilance. Emperor Hong stared at Qin Feiyang sinisterly, and said, "This is the Son of Heaven's bedroom, no one is allowed to set foot in here, including you, scram immediately." Qin Feiyang glanced at him indifferently, ignored him, and scanned the hall. Soon, he was right behind Emperor Hong and Emperor Hong. He saw the little prince. The little prince was lying on the ground, his body dripping with blood. His small face was also deathly pale, and his life force was extremely weak. He couldn't even feel it. If one didn't observe carefully, no matter who it was, they would think that it was a corpse. Actually, the current little prince was no different from a corpse. "Get out of the way." Qin Feiyang took a step forward, landed in front of the two of them, and shouted. The two of them were indifferent. Old Man Qin said angrily, "The little prince's life is at stake, if you don't get out of the way, I'm afraid there will be no hope." The two of them were bewildered. Old Man Qin said in a deep voice, "You didn't hear wrongly, we are here to save the little prince." The imperial tutor sneered, "Would you be so kind? I'm not in the mood to talk nonsense with you right now, scram." Qin Feiyang enunciated each word clearly, his tone cold and bone-chilling. The killing intent in his heart also uncontrollably emerged. "You," the imperial tutor was furious. Emperor Hong suddenly stretched out his hand, grabbed the imperial tutor, pulled him to the side, and sent a sound transmission, "Let him try for now." "My lord, are you crazy? Even we are helpless, let alone him." The imperial tutor said in a low voice, his brows filled with disdain. Emperor Hong remained silent, looking at Qin Feiyang who was walking towards the little prince step by step, his eyes flickering. Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin had always been following behind Qin Feiyang, in case the imperial tutor suddenly attacked Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang stopped in front of the little prince, sizing up the little prince's situation. This imperial tutor would like to see what kind of heaven-defying methods you have to take back his little life from the hands of the Grim Reaper. The imperial tutor sneered secretly. "Give it to me." Suddenly, Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand. Old Man Qin immediately handed the jade box to Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, Emperor Hong and the imperial tutor also immediately looked at the jade box, their eyes filled with bewilderment. When Qin Feiyang opened the jade box, their gazes suddenly trembled, and their faces were filled with shock. It was actually the fire of life. Was he going to use the fire of life to save the little prince? The two of them couldn't believe it. The fire of life was such a precious treasure, how could Qin Feiyang be willing to take it out to save the little prince? Qin Feiyang ignored them, squatted on the ground, grabbed the fire of life, opened the little prince's mouth, and gently put it in. Boom! An astonishing life force, with the little prince as the center, immediately rolled out in all directions. And the little prince's cracked body immediately began to heal. The aura of life was also gradually recovering. He really used the fire of life to save the little prince? This little bastard, what exactly is he thinking? At this moment, Emperor Hong's heart was in a mess. Because from this, it could be seen that Qin Feiyang truly doted on this younger brother of his from a different mother. Was he really wrong before? He couldn't help but feel hesitant. Time passed bit by bit. About an hour later, seeing that the little prince's situation had stabilized and was gradually improving, old man Qin finally let out a sigh of relief. Qin Feiyang also let out a long breath, got up, looked at the little prince, and muttered, "I can save you once, but I can't save you a second time. Take care of yourself." Finished. Qin Feiyang then looked at old man Qin and Lu Jiajin, and laughed, "Let's go." The two of them nodded. Wait. But just as the three of them turned to leave, Emperor Hong suddenly blocked their way. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Yan Wei also became nervous, afraid that Emperor Hong would burn the bridge after crossing the river. However, it wasn't impossible for this to happen. Chapter 1426. Qin Feiyang looked at Emperor Hong and frowned. "What do you want to do? Let's talk in private?" Emperor Hong asked. "Let's talk." The imperial tutor's heart trembled. Could it be that because Qin Feiyang saved the little prince, Emperor Hong's heart was moved? Qin Feiyang was also rather surprised, and said, "What else is there to talk about between us?" Emperor Hong said, "The grudge between us is indeed very deep, but no matter what, you and I are both descendants of the Qin clan, there's no need to be so cold." "Huh, a descendant of the Qin clan, are you joking? If you really treated me as a descendant of the Qin clan, would you be so cruel to me? Cold? Compared to your indifference, what is this?" Qin Feiyang laughed loudly, his eyes full of ridicule. Emperor Hong raised his eyebrows, and said, "It won't take up too much of your time. All right. I'll treat it as respecting the old and loving the young." Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Looking at Qin Feiyang's arrogant and disrespectful attitude, Emperor Hong was rather annoyed, and said, "Follow me." After saying that, he walked towards the second floor of the main hall. The imperial tutor immediately waved to Yan Wei and said, "Come over and take care of Emperor Hao Tian, I will accompany Lord Emperor Hong." Without waiting for Yan Wei's response, Emperor Hong waved his hand without even turning his head. "Taking care of Hao Tian is more important, there's no need to accompany me." But, the imperial tutor's face was filled with worry. "There's no buts. With this old man's strength, he doesn't dare to act rashly in front of this old man. Moreover, we're upstairs. If something really happens, it won't be too late for you to catch up when you hear the commotion." Emperor Hong said. "All right." The imperial tutor nodded, feeling unwilling in his heart. Seeing all of this, Qin Feiyang and the other two couldn't help but smile at each other, then turned around and followed. On the second floor. In a guest hall. "Please sit." Emperor Hong stood in front of the main seat, looking at Qin Feiyang trio. Qin Feiyang said, "If you have something to say, just say it. Don't waste our time." Emperor Hong said angrily, "As a descendant of the younger generation, is this the attitude you should have? Attitude? I've already given you enough face by coming up here. I advise you not to push your luck and take advantage of your seniority." Qin Feiyang said in disgust. Emperor Hong clenched his fists, anger rising in his heart. "You're not going to tell me?" Qin Feiyang asked. Who? Emperor Hong took a deep breath and said, first of all, this old man is very grateful to you for saving Haotian. There's no need. I saved him out of my own will. It has nothing to do with you. Qin Feiyang said. Even so, I still have to thank you. Secondly, this old man wants to know why you didn't hesitate to use your flame of life to save him. Emperor Hong looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang frowned impatiently, and said, he's my younger brother, is that enough? Emperor Hong was stunned, and muttered, is it that simple? Although he was muttering to himself, Qin Feiyang heard every word, and anger rose in his heart. Otherwise, why do you think I saved him? Greedy for the power in his hands? Or the throne under his feet? Let me tell you, the human heart is not as complicated as you think. I saved him because we're brothers. Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. Saving someone, and being suspected of having bad intentions? How could there be such a laughable thing in this world? Seeing Qin Feiyang angry, Emperor Hong frowned and nodded, all right, this old man will believe you for now. As long as I have a clear conscience, do I need you to believe me? Who do you think you are? Qin Feiyang sneered. Facing the naked ridicule, Emperor Hong's anger rose from his heart, but in the end, he endured it. He looked at old Qin and Lu Jiajin, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, can you let them leave first? No. Qin Feiyang said without any hesitation. His tone carried a tone that said there was no room for discussion. Emperor Hong fell silent. Is there anything else? If there is, then say it quickly. My time is precious. Qin Feiyang said with a face full of irritation. Yes. Emperor Hong nodded fiercely, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, this old man has a request. Speak. Qin Feiyang shouted, his patience reaching its limit. Emperor Hong said, the miracle is about to open, but the 10 keys to open the miracle are all in the hands of you and the Mu family, so this old man hopes, at this point. Emperor Hong found it difficult to continue, and his expression was rather awkward. Qin Feiyang's face twitched, and said jokingly, you don't want me to give you a key, do you? Emperor Hong hurriedly said, I don't want you to give it to me, this old man can spend a lot of money to buy it. There are countless opportunities hidden in the miracle, can you afford it? Qin Feiyang looked at him playfully. Emperor Hong said, you can state your conditions. When he opened his mouth, he was already prepared to be slaughtered by Qin Feiyang. I'm sorry, although you are very sincere, in my opinion, there is nothing more valuable than these keys in this world. Besides, what you have, I have. What you don't have, I have too. What else do you have that can arouse my interest? If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Qin Feiyang smiled contemptuously and turned to walk outside. Stop. Let's put aside your identity for now, and just talk about the fact that you received my father's inheritance. If my father didn't give you the inheritance and let your bloodline revert to its ancestor, would you have today's achievements? But what about you now? Just because of some trivial matter, you don't care about the interests of my great Qin. Is this how you repay your kindness? The Flood Emperor shouted with a stern expression. Qin Feiyang stopped in his tracks, and his 10 fingers gradually clenched. A person must have a conscience. You must know kindness and be grateful. Emperor Hong said again. That's enough. Being crippled by the calamity spirit pill and expelled from the imperial capital, is this a trivial matter? You slandered me in front of the civil and military officials and the people of the imperial capital for murdering the emperor and stealing the imperial jade seal. Is this a small matter? My mother suffered so much in the imperial palace, I relied on my own ability to walk out of the spiritual state step by step and return to the imperial capital, but you guys shouted at me to kill me. Is this a small matter? If this is a small matter in your eyes, then tell me, what is a big matter? Qin Feiyang suddenly turned around and stared at Emperor Hong. Emperor Hong said, "This old man doesn't understand these things. This old man only knows that father has done you a favor, and you should repay it." "Repay it," Qin Feiyang murmured, shook his head in amusement, and said, "If it weren't for the ancestor, do you think Great Qin would still exist?" Emperor Hong said, "Is your hatred for us so strong?" "Yes. It is so strong. I once thought of destroying this empire that I hate with my own hands. But I didn't do so because the ancestor has done me a favor. So, don't push your luck. Otherwise, I can't guarantee you the consequences." Qin Feiyang laughed coldly. "Fine. This old man won't say much. Since you know how to repay the favor, then take out something practical. Don't play these empty games we can't see," Emperor Hong said. "Huh," Qin Feiyang laughed in anger. What he had, he could say as nothing. What was black, he could say as white. The level of shamelessness of this old thing was truly beyond imagination. "In the end, don't you just want the alchemy fire? All right. As long as you kneel in front of me and apologize to me, I'll give it to you immediately," Qin Feiyang said. In the past, no matter how much he had gone overboard, he would give Emperor Hong some face. But now, he didn't want to think about anything, as long as he could vent the anger in his heart. He had also thought it through. The other party didn't even treat him as a relative, so why should he care so much? Looking at Emperor Hong again. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, his old face immediately turned ugly to the extreme. "You're not going to kneel, are you? Then I'm sorry, even if I throw away these alchemy fires, I won't give them to you. Let's go." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, and turned to leave with old Qin and the other two. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, Emperor Hong's old face was full of struggle. Plop. Finally. He powerlessly lowered his arms, bent his knees, and knelt on the ground, saying in a low voice, "I'm sorry." Qin Feiyang suddenly froze. Old Qin and Lu Jiajin also froze in place. Originally, they all thought that with Emperor Hong's self-esteem, it was impossible for him to do such a thing, but they didn't expect that he actually did it. "Who?" Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, did not look at Emperor Hong, directly took out the sky-profound flame, and directly threw it to Emperor Hong, saying, "I hope you take care of yourself." Finished speaking, he left without looking back. "If you knew earlier, why did you do it in the first place?" Sigh. Old Qin turned his head to look at Emperor Hong, let out a long sigh, and also left with large strides. "Perhaps this is the retribution that the people talk about. I hope you don't continue to be wrong." Lu Jiajin shook his head and also quickly disappeared. After the three of them left, Emperor Hong got up and grabbed the sky-profound flame, his old eyes emitting a monstrous killing intent. "Retribution? Hee, you guys can be proud of yourselves for now. Wait until one day in the future. The humiliation this old man suffered today will definitely be returned to you 10 times, 100 times. A sinister smile gradually crawled up his face, as if a demon was awakening. It was incomparably terrifying. Bright Heaven Palace. Qin Feiyang returned here once again. Although during this period of time, Qin Feiyang was being suppressed every day, no one dared to come to the Bright Heaven Palace. Therefore, this place had always been empty, and no one cleaned it. On the ground, there were many withered yellow leaves, and the tables and chairs in the hall were also covered with a thin layer of dust, filled with a bit of loneliness and depression. Qin Feiyang stood in the center of the hall, scanning the surroundings, his eyes filled with emotion. A moment later, Qin Feiyang turned his head to look at old Qin beside him, and said with a smile, "You go to the ancient tower to rest first." "All right." Old Qin nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and old Qin immediately disappeared. Immediately. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Jiajin, cupped his hands and said, "Big cousin, thank you, and also sincerely thank second grandfather for me. If not for the Lu family's help this time, the little prince would definitely have no way to survive. We're all family, what's there to be polite about?" Lu Jiajin shook his head and smiled. Family. Chapter 1427. Him. Lu Jiajin shook his head and smiled. Thanks to you, he took a bath in a river next to the village to get rid of the stench on his body. Qin Feiyang laughed dryly. I swear, I didn't do it on purpose. If I had known in advance that the Devil Cliff was such a place, I definitely wouldn't have cheated him like this. Lu Jiajin waved his hand. It doesn't matter. It's good to let him suffer a little. Then, are you going back to the village or? Qin Feiyang asked. Lu Jiajin said, I heard that the time rules in your castle are different from the outside. I want to take advantage of these few days to completely stabilize my cultivation. Qin Feiyang smiled. Sure enough, as second grandpa and Lu Zheng said, you're a cultivation maniac. How can I not cultivate? After all, this is a world where one's fist matters. Lu Jiajin said. Qin Feiyang nodded. Lu Jiajin said, in addition, before entering the miracle, you have to take care of the people around you. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Lu Jiajin said, if I'm not wrong, you should be planning to bring the people around you into the miracle. Such a good opportunity, of course I'll take it. Qin Feiyang said. That's the problem. I heard from Lu Zheng that there are millions of people in your ancient tower, not counting the beasts. These people and beasts can't enter the miracle. Lu Jiajin said. Why? Qin Feiyang frowned. Because of the rule power of the miracle. Even if everyone hides in the ancient tower and castle, they can't escape the rule power's search. If you forcibly bring them in, whether it's the spatial artifact or the people and beasts inside, they will be mercilessly obliterated by the rule power. Lu Jiajin explained. This, Qin Feiyang's face was dull. Originally, he did want to bring everyone into the miracle, but he didn't expect there to be such a situation. You should only have 2 alchemy fires now, right? Then you can only bring 2,000 people or ferocious beasts into the divine ruin. You should think about who you should bring in. Once you've thought it through, if you can't find a place to settle them down, you can let them stay in my Lu family for the time being. Lu Jiajin said. That's troublesome. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. After sending Lu Jiajin to the castle, he entered the ancient pagoda and stood on top of a giant mountain peak. He scanned the village and the people of the Sky Tiger tribe below. The construction of the Sky Tiger tribe was 90% complete. Most of the people in the village were originally ordinary people. However, after the return of Wang Yangfeng and the others, those who had the talent for cultivation began to step onto the path of cultivation one after another. Some of them even became alchemists. All in all, whether it was the village or the Tianhu tribe, they were all thriving. Qin Feiyang shouted, Elder Wang, Elder Qin, Lei Bao, come over here, I have something to discuss with you. The sound was not very loud, but it was clearly transmitted into the village. Whoosh! Immediately, 3 streams of light flew out of the village and went straight to the mountain peak where Qin Feiyang was. What's the matter now? When they landed on the mountain peak, Elder Qin looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. After returning to the ancient pagoda, his butt had not even warmed up yet. Qin Feiyang immediately explained the situation that Lu Jiajin had told him to the 2 men and 1 beast. There's such a thing? Lei Bao raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, so I want to ask, do you have any good suggestions? Fatso and the white-eyed wolf were the first people and beasts to follow him. He definitely had to bring them along. As for the people of the Sky Tiger tribe, the strongest was Yen Wei. The others were only battle saints. Hence, no matter what the result was, the miracle had nothing to do with them. Then, only the people in the village and the beasts in the ancient pagoda were left. Elder Qin pondered for a moment and said, "Actually, I think that having more people might not be a good thing." Qin Feiyang, Wang Yangfeng, and Lei Bao couldn't help but look at him suspiciously. Although the miracle is a place full of opportunities, not everyone can get these opportunities. On the contrary, the probability of sacrifice is very high. So, I think that we just need to choose some stronger people to go in. For example, Dan Wangkai can help refine all kinds of pills. Another example is the Spirit Snake Emperor. It has no aura and the advantage of changing the color of its skin. At the critical moment, it can play a key role. Another example is the Wolf King. Although his cultivation is not high, he can strip the fighting soul of all living creatures. Elder Qin said. That makes sense. More people might not be able to help young lord. Wang Yangfeng nodded. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang looked at the two and asked. My suggestion is that the people in the ancient pagoda should not go in, especially the people and beasts at the peak of the 9-star Battle Emperor realm. Because for the people and beasts at the peak of the Battle Emperor realm, comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god is the most important thing. Although there are divine items, divine arts, and other treasures in the divine ruins, these things are not very helpful to becoming a god. Elder Qin said. I object. Wang Yangfeng raised his hand and said, if we don't go, then who will protect young lord? Elder Qin shook his head and said with a smile, Old Wang, do you think the current Qin Feiyang still needs someone to protect him? When the time comes, he will be distracted to protect you. Wang Yangfeng was stunned and couldn't find a reason to refute. Qin Feiyang looked at Elder Qin and asked, what about you? I want to go. The late emperor had been to the miracle before. I want to see if I can find the footprints left by the late emperor. Elder Qin said with a determined light in his old eyes. Then it's decided. Except for Wolf King and the others in the ancient castle, no one should go. I will look for the old master later and give him the ancient pagoda. Everyone can cultivate here in peace. Qin Feiyang said. It was too much work to ask everyone to leave the ancient pagoda and move to the Liu family's island, so it was better to just give the ancient pagoda to the old master. In this way, everything in the ancient pagoda would be the same as usual. With the ancient castle, the ancient pagoda didn't mean much to Qin Feiyang. Wang Yangfeng frowned and said, Young lord, I'm really worried, don't worry about me. Just cultivate in peace and strive to step into the semi-divinity realm as soon as possible. Only when all of you step into the semi-divinity realm will I have the capital to fight against Great Qin, Lu Xingchen, and the main pagoda. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Alright, we will work hard and live up to your expectations. Wang Yangfeng nodded and solemnly promised. Qin Feiyang nodded. Boss Qin, that, Lei Bao looked at Qin Feiyang pitifully. Don't try anything funny. My expectations for you are even greater. When I return from the divine site, I hope to see that you have stepped into the semi-divinity realm or even the peak of the semi-divinity realm. Qin Feiyang said. Boring. Lei Bao pouted. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. He entered the ancient castle again and glanced at the white-eyed wolf, Lu Hong, and the others. After many years of cultivation, everyone's cultivation base had basically broken through to the combat emperor realm. For example, Fatso, the pangolin, the double-winged snow eagle, and the phantom snake emperor. Although the black dragon snake and Lu Hong had crippled their cultivation base and started anew, after these years of seclusion, they had caught up with everyone's pace. And now, the strongest one was undoubtedly the fire Qilin. Although it hadn't opened the door of potential, it relied on the bloodline power of the Qilin divine beast. After leaving the Mu family, it had advanced by a small realm. 6-star combat emperor. However, there were also people and beasts that didn't meet the requirements. That was Ren Wuxuang and the giant python. Although Ren Wuxuang had opened the door of potential, she hadn't cultivated in the ancient castle before. Therefore, her cultivation base had only reached the 6-star combat saint realm. As for the giant python, although it had also opened the door of potential after following Qin Feiyang and had eaten divine meat, transforming into a flood dragon and causing its cultivation base to soar to the 3-star combat master realm, before following Qin Feiyang, its cultivation base was too low. Therefore, its current cultivation base was the lowest in this small group. Currently, it had only broken through to the 9-star combat master realm. Therefore, Ren Wuxuang and the flood dragon were unable to enter the divine sight. Qin Feiyang sighed and stepped forward to look at Ren Wuxuang. He said helplessly, "Sis, and you, little fellow," Qin Feiyang said as he bent down and held the flood dragon in his palm. This was because the flood dragon had shrunk its body in the ancient castle, making it look like a small earthworm. You all heard it too. It's not that I don't want to bring you to the divine sight, it's just that I can't bring you in. Qin Feiyang said as he looked at the man and beast. Ren Wuxuang opened his eyes and smiled helplessly. He stood up and looked at Qin Feiyang. "It's okay, as long as you came back alive." The flood dragon also made a helpless expression, feeling rather regretful in its heart. Because of this, the gap between it and everyone else would grow larger and larger. Ren Wuxuang naturally understood this logic, but the rules of the divine sight were like this, and he couldn't force it. Qin Feiyang did not delay any longer and brought Ren Wuxuang and the flood dragon into the ancient pagoda, descending in front of the medicine field's courtyard. "Qin Feiyang, is my father okay?" Xiao Kai'er was chatting with the old man and the others in the courtyard. When she saw Qin Feiyang appear, she immediately got up and ran over to ask. "He's fine." Qin Feiyang smiled. "Grandfather. Uncle Yen. Aunt Xiao. Aunt." Ren Wuxuang entered the courtyard and greeted the old man, Yen Nanshan, Luo Qianxue, and Lu Ji one by one. The four nodded. Qin Feiyang stood outside the courtyard and bowed to the four of them across the air. He then looked at the old man and said, "There's something I want to talk to you about." "What's the matter?" The old man got up and walked over. Qin Feiyang put down the flood dragon and appeared in the main hall of the Bright Sky Palace with the old man. He then explained the situation to the old man in detail. After the old man listened, he frowned and said, "Then according to what you said, Xuang can't enter the divine sight?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "What a pity. Do you know? Xuang swore in front of her father's grave that she would personally take revenge on Lu Xingqian, so she wanted to enter the divine sight more than anyone else. But now," sigh, the old man couldn't continue and could only let out a long sigh. "There's nothing we can do about it. The rules are as such." Qin Feiyang was silent for a while and said, "Yes. We mortals can't break the rules of the divine sight. Perhaps this is Xuang's fate. It's my fault. If I had let her follow you earlier, she wouldn't be a 6-star battle saint now." The old man's face was full of self-blame. "You don't have to blame yourself. Sister doesn't have to bear so much pressure. Because there's still me. Although sister and I aren't biological siblings, we're closer than biological siblings. Her business is my business. I'll settle the score with Lu Xingqian." Qin Feiyang said, his words cold and threatening. "Then I'll leave everything to you." The old man smiled. "Yes." Chapter 1428. Lu family. No matter what happened outside, there would not be the slightest bit of change here. It was peaceful and quiet. Although the second grandfather's cultivation was strong, he was a good person. He was neither arrogant nor rash. Although the old man's cultivation was weak, he was neither servile nor overbearing in front of the second grandfather. The two of them had similar personalities. Thus, the moment the two old men met, they were like old friends and chatted happily. Qin Feiyang accompanied them for a while before leaving silently. "Feiyang, you're back. Xiao He has already sent us a message about what you did in the imperial city. You killed 5 martial marquis and forced Emperor Hong and the imperial tutor to kneel. I have to say, you're amazing." A few old men dressed in sackcloth saw Qin Feiyang and immediately laughed. "You're too kind." Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand. Although these old men were dressed in ordinary clothes, they were actually peak 9-star combat Emperor realm experts. Don't be modest. In this world, only you would dare to kill Great Qin's martial marquis in the throne room. Although it's a bit arrogant, we agree. Because after this incident, the remaining martial marquis will definitely not dare to collude with the imperial tutor. The old men chuckled. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly and asked suspiciously, "Who is the Xiao He you were talking about?" An old man said, "He is your second grandfather's disciple. You are a junior, so you can't call him Xiao He. You have to call him Uncle He." Second grandfather's disciple. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. Your Uncle He opened a small restaurant in the first district of the imperial city. He is specifically responsible for gathering news about the imperial city. So no matter what happens in the imperial city, we will be able to receive the news immediately. That small restaurant is called Lai Feng Lu. If you have any trouble in the future, you can go there and ask your Uncle He for help. A few old men said. Lai Feng Lu, Qin Feiyang silently remembered this name. Let's not talk about this anymore. Come with me to my house. There are a few jars of old wine at home that I can't bear to drink. Today, I'll let you have it. Old man, you only know how to drink all day. Don't you know that drinking is bad for your health? Child, Grandpa has some wild mountain tea that he brewed himself. It tastes pretty good. Go and try it. Everyone was as enthusiastic as ever. Qin Feiyang's initial plan was to look for Lu Zheng. After meeting with Lu Zheng, he would enter the castle to cultivate. But then he thought about it. Why was he forcing himself like this? He might as well take advantage of these few days to adjust his state of mind. After all, they were about to enter the miracle. Only by adjusting themselves to their best condition could they deal with all the unknown variables. Moreover, an appropriate amount of relaxation was also beneficial to one's cultivation. Hence, Qin Feiyang gave up on cultivating. In the morning, he followed the men in the village out to farm and graze. In the afternoon, he played with the children in the village. In the evening, he accompanied the elders in the village to drink tea and chat. The rest of the day passed peacefully. He wanted to completely let himself go. The next evening, Lu Zheng appeared at the village entrance. The stench on his body had disappeared, but the anger in his heart was still there. Especially when he saw that Qin Feiyang was living so comfortably in the village, he was even more unhappy. He directly challenged Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang didn't care. If he wanted to fight, then so be it. But when they fought, Qin Feiyang suppressed his cultivation. But even if he suppressed his cultivation, in the end, Lu Zheng was still beaten black and blue. The people in the village didn't stop him either. They all treated it as a show. The third day, Qin Feiyang finally met Uncle Black. This was a dark-skinned man who was very forthright. His cultivation had also reached the peak of the 9-star combat Emperor realm. But late that night, after everyone finished drinking, Uncle Black left the village. Qin Feiyang didn't even have a chance to chat for a while. Time passed in the blink of an eye. The day of the miracle's opening had finally arrived. Early morning. The sun rose from the east. It was full of vitality. Qin Feiyang opened the door and stood in the courtyard. He faced the morning sun and stretched lazily. For the past few days, he slept very soundly every night. He hadn't relaxed like this for a long time. He felt that every part of his body was incomparably comfortable. Suddenly, he smelled the aroma of rice. He retracted his gaze and looked at the stone table at the side. There were 5 or 6 delicious side dishes and 3 bowls of millet porridge neatly placed on it. Get up. Go wash up and get ready to eat. The old master walked out of the kitchen with 2 plates of side dishes. He looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. The old master had been staying in the village for the past few days. Although his cultivation wasn't very high, because of Qin Feiyang, the villagers respected him very much. And second grandpa didn't treat him as an outsider. Not only did he let the old master stay in his house, but he also brought the old master around every day. It's better to come at the right time than to come at the right time. Just as Qin Feiyang and the others were about to eat, Lu Zheng ran over and sat directly opposite Qin Feiyang. He picked up a bowl of millet porridge and wolfed it down. Second grandpa scolded, "Brat, don't you see that old master Ren is here? You have no manners at all." Lu Zheng quickly looked up at the old master and smiled. "Good morning, Grandpa Ren." Good, good, good. Eat more if you like." Old master smiled. "Of course I like it," Lu Zheng said. Qin Feiyang glanced at Lu Zheng and said disdainfully, "You really don't stand on ceremony at all." Lu Zheng raised his eyebrows and said angrily, "Don't talk to me. I haven't forgiven you yet. Do I need your forgiveness?" Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Old master and second grandpa looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Second grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "Ask your eldest cousin to come out. Let's have breakfast together." Okay. Qin Feiyang moved his mind and Lu Jiajin immediately appeared beside him. Second grandpa. Grandpa Ren. Lu Jiajin behaved very well and was polite. Okay. Second grandpa nodded and asked, "How is your cultivation?" "After 40 days of meditation, it's almost stable," Lu Jiajin said. "That's good. Sit down and eat. Take it as us 2 old men sending you off." Second grandpa smiled. Okay. Lu Jiajin nodded and sat next to Qin Feiyang. Old master got up and brought Lu Jiajin a bowl of millet porridge. "Thank you, Grandpa Ren." Lu Jiajin took the bowl of millet porridge, looked at old master, and thanked him. Then he ate it in small bites. The time for the meal passed quickly. Qin, Zheng, Feiyang. Second grandpa looked at the 3 of them and his face became extremely serious. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 put down their bowls and chopsticks and looked up at second grandpa suspiciously. Second grandpa said, "I only have one thing to say to you. You must come back alive." The 3 of them nodded heavily. Second grandpa glanced at the 3 of them and then looked at old master. After a short silence, old master looked at Qin Feiyang and the other 2 and said with a smile, "To be honest, with your cultivation, I'm really not qualified to preach to you." Lu Jiajin said with a smile, "Grandpa Ren is Feiyang's elder, which means you're also my and Lu Zheng's elder. There's no harm in speaking frankly." Okay. Then I'll take advantage of my seniority to say a few words. In terms of strength and intelligence, you're all the best of the younger generation. No one can even compare to you. But this time, it's not only the younger generation that's going to enter the miracle, but also the older generation. For example, the state preceptor, Mu Changyun, and so on. These people are all existences that you can't compete with now. So after entering the miracle, no matter what happens, you have to think twice before you act. Don't try to show off. The most important thing is that you have to be united. To paraphrase a popular saying, if brothers are of one heart, their sharpness can cut through gold. Also, like your second grandpa, I hope that you can all come back alive. Old Master said. Thank you for your teachings, Grandpa Run. Lu Jiajin did not look down on Old Master because of the difference in cultivation at all. Instead, he respected him. Second Grandpa waved his hand and said, when a bird grows up, it will eventually fly out. In the future, this world will be your stage. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other and stood up one after another. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and Old Master Qin appeared out of thin air. Old Master Qin looked at Old Master and Second Grandpa. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, "Hello, both of you." The two of them smiled and returned the greeting. Immediately after, the ancient pagoda flew out from between Qin Feiyang's eyebrows and flew to Old Master Qin, saying, "I'll leave everything in the ancient pagoda to you." Okay. Old Master Qin nodded. Goodbye, Second Grandpa. Goodbye, Grandpa Run. The three of them bowed deeply and opened a teleportation door. Lu Jiajin also took out the mask from his Qianquan bag and put it on his face again. Lu Zheng was sent to the castle by Qin Feiyang. Whoosh! Immediately after, Qin Feiyang and Lu Jiajin turned into streams of light and rushed into the portal one after another. Old Master Qin looked at Second Grandpa and said, "I don't know if I'll survive this trip. If I can come back alive, I'll definitely come back and drink with the two of you." "My pleasure." Second Grandpa and Old Master Qin laughed. Also, Old Master Qin looked at Second Grandpa and pleaded, "If there are any changes in Great Qin during this period, please help, Old Master Lu." "I will." Second Grandpa nodded. "Thank you very much then." Old Master Qin thanked him and turned around to step into the portal. It's a miracle. So many people's dreams, and so many people's graves. Is it worth it? Second Grandpa sighed. Whether it's worth it or not, only those who go in will know. We're not qualified to say anything. Old Master Qin laughed. Yes. Second Grandpa nodded. When Qin Feiyang and the other two arrived in the sky above the square of the first district, countless people had already gathered in the first district. Everyone looked at the gate of time and space with a look of longing. Qin Feiyang. Old Master Qin. And that masked man. They really came. But this time, so many experts have entered the miracle, and there are even pseudo-gods. It's probably a problem whether Qin Feiyang can come back alive. Seeing Qin Feiyang and the other two arrive, the people immediately whispered to each other. Qin Feiyang and the other two didn't pay any attention to him. They directly soared into the sky and entered the space-time gate. The sky above the imperial city and the main tower of the central divine kingdom was also crowded and noisy. Chapter 1429. Qin Feiyang stood proudly, sweeping his gaze across the Pill Pagoda Square below. Apart from those who came to join in the fun, there were three groups of people who attracted the most attention. On one side was the main pagoda. On one side was the Mu family. On the other side was the Great Qin. The three super forces stood on the square in a tripartite manner, all of them remaining silent. But the difference was that the Mu family only had three people, Lu Xingchen, Mu Chongyun, and Mu Chongfeng. There was no suspense. The rest of the Mu family must be hiding in a spatial divine object like Fatso and the others. Great Qin and the main pagoda did not have any spatial divine objects, so the people who were going to the miracle were gathered in the square, led by the main pagoda master and Emperor Hong. No more, no less, both sides had exactly 1,000 people. The imperial preceptor, Zhuge Mingyang, Yan Wei, and Wang Zicheng were all there. Wang Su and Gong Sun Bei were also there. And beside Wang Su, Qin Feiyang saw two extremely familiar faces. Wang Yu, young master how? The two of them looked the same as before. One was peerlessly beautiful, like a beauty that could topple a country, and the other was handsome and tall, like jade. However, compared to before, the two of them seemed more mature now. Especially Wang Yu. In the past, she was a charming, youthful, and lively woman. But now, there was no expression on her face, and her entire body carried a coldness that kept people 1,000 miles away. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly, brought Elder Qin and Lu Jiajin, and landed beside Lu Xingchen. Lu Xingchen smiled and said, "I'm just waiting for you." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and asked, "Where is the miracle?" Lu Xingchen said, "When the 10 keys are gathered, the miracle will naturally appear," but, at this point, Lu Xingchen glanced at the Imperial Preceptor and Emperor Hong, frowning slightly, and sent a sound transmission. "Didn't we already agree not to give them the pill fire? Why are you still giving it to them?" Qin Feiyang said, "Didn't you also give the Heavenly Dipper flame to the main pagoda?" Lu Xingchen was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, "Are you wondering how I know?" Lu Xingchen did not deny it. "Don't do it unless you don't want others to know." Qin Feiyang sneered. Lu Xingchen shook his head and laughed. He said in admiration, "Brother Qin is indeed a difficult character to deal with. I can't hide anything from you." After saying that, he looked towards Emperor Hong and the main pagoda, and said, "Since everyone is already here, then take out the pill fire and summon the miracle." Emperor Hong immediately took out the profound sky flame. The chief pagoda master also took out the heavenly astral flames. Lu Xingchen waved his hand, and clusters of alchemic fire appeared. Different colors. There was also a bone-white alchemy fire. There was an alchemy fire that was as golden as gold. Next was the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house, her teacher, and the middle-aged man that even Mu Zhongyun was afraid of. Although there were only 4 of them, none of the people present dared to underestimate them. This was because among the 4 of them, there were 3 false gods, and one of them was even at the peak of the false god realm. As for the remaining young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house, her cultivation was not bad at all. 9-star War Emperor. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. The mysterious madam chuckled and waved her hand, bringing the 3 young ladies of the Dragon Phoenix house to Qin Feiyang's side. Mu family, Qin Feiyang, and the mysterious madam, these 3 parties are actually standing together? Could it be that they have secretly formed an alliance? Seeing this scene, the people from Great Qin and the main pagoda couldn't help but ponder. Lu Xingchen looked at the mysterious madam and the other 3 and frowned. "They are the people you are waiting for?" "That's right." Qin Feiyang nodded. "These people are not easy to deal with. Is this really okay?" Lu Xingchen asked, looking a little angry. He never thought that Qin Feiyang would actually bring the mysterious madam along. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "It's more lively with more people, what's wrong with that?" Finished. With a wave of his hand, the heavenly thunder flame and the ice frost flame appeared. All 10 types of pill fire had finally appeared. And just as the heavenly thunder flame and the ice frost flame appeared, the 10 types of pill fire seemed to have some sort of connection with each other. Boom! They recovered on their own, erupting with terrifying auras. Following that, a shocking heat wave swept through the heavens and earth. The entire Pill Pagoda Square seemed to have turned into a huge furnace in an instant. Even Qin Feiyang, a 4-star War Emperor, was sweating profusely in an instant, let alone those below the War Emperor. Other than those who wanted to enter the miracle site, everyone retreated. At this moment, everyone stared fixedly at the 10 clusters of pill fire. Suddenly, the 10 clusters of pill fire rushed out at almost the same time, transforming into 10 huge dragons that roared towards the clouds, causing the heavens and earth to lose their color. Everyone followed the 10 huge dragons and looked towards the peak of the clouds. Boom! Finally, the 10 huge dragons rushed into the clouds. Kacha. Walla. Boom. In the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and the wind howled. The loud sound was deafening. Moreover, the sky that was still clear a moment ago was now covered by dark clouds and pouring rain. It could be said that strange phenomena were occurring frequently. What exactly is a miracle? It's actually such a big scene. Everyone was bewildered. Qin Feiyang and the others were also looking at the sky. There was nervousness and anticipation. Boom. Time passed breath by breath. After about 100 breaths of time, a vast divine might suddenly erupted in the sky, covering the heavens and the earth as it surged in all directions. This divine might. At this moment, everyone's expression changed. Because this divine might was too terrifying. Even Emperor Hong and Mu Chongyun, these peak false gods, couldn't help but tremble in despair. Who created this miracle? The divine might is actually so terrifying? Could it be a real war god? Everyone was incomparably shocked. Clang! Suddenly, another loud sound exploded in the sky, causing countless people's ears to ring and their blood to surge. Look, there seems to be something appearing in the clouds. Following closely, a cry of surprise rang out. Everyone looked over and saw a blurry silhouette gradually appear in the clouds. It was a door. A very large stone door. The stone door was 999 feet tall, completely black, emitting a mysterious and ancient aura. That divine might came from this stone door. It was like a towering mountain that stood at the peak of the clouds and shook the heavens and the earth. Is that the door to the miracle? People murmured, their hearts filled with desire. Emperor Hong, Lu Xingchen, the mysterious madam, the chief pagoda master, and the others were also wild with joy. Wait. There seemed to be 10 grooves on the stone door. Suddenly, someone was puzzled. Grooves? Everyone was slightly taken aback and hurriedly looked at the stone door carefully. Vaguely. There really seemed to be 10 grooves. But the distance was too far to see clearly. However, Emperor Hong, a peak stage false god, could clearly see it. The 10 grooves were all in the shape of flames, and each of them was only the size of a palm. They were arranged irregularly on the stone door. Lu Xingchen retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Put the 10 types of alchemy fire into the 10 grooves, and the stone door will open. Then let's go. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, grabbing the heavenly thunder flame and the ice flame, he rushed towards the stone door. Elder Qin, Lu Jiajin, and the mysterious madam followed closely behind him. Seeing this, Lu Xingchen, Emperor Hong, and the chief pagoda master also hurriedly grabbed the alchemy fire, and with their own people, they chased after Qin Feiyang's group like lightning. Let's go take a look as well. The onlookers also rushed up into the sky. When Qin Feiyang and the others arrived in front of the stone door, they truly felt the deterrence and pressure brought by the stone door. Chapter 1430. Prepare to open the stone door. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and walked out of the crowd. Seeing this, Lu Xingchen, the chief pagoda master, Emperor Hong also stepped out and landed beside Qin Feiyang. The 4 stood side by side, then looked at each other and raised their arms at the same time. 10 clusters of alchemy fire immediately flew out of their hands towards the 10 grooves. At this moment, the people behind couldn't help but hold their breath. After a few breaths, finally, the 10 clusters of alchemy fire each entered a groove. Buzz! Immediately, bolts of purple lightning shot out from the first groove. This purple lightning originated from the heavenly thunder flame. In other words, the first groove was the heavenly thunder flame. The purple lightning was dazzling and didn't dissipate for a long time. And, as if it was being pulled, the lightning rushed towards the second groove. Buzz! When the lightning rushed into the second groove, a dazzling white divine light suddenly rushed out of the groove. Inside this white divine light, there was a bone-piercing cold current. That's right. This was what the heavenly ice flame emitted. Following closely. The third groove. The fourth groove. One after another, a dazzling divine light burst out. Finally, the 10 grooves all lit up, like a blazing sun. The divine light was boundless, illuminating the sky. And at this moment, the entire stone door was also suffused with strands of blood-red light, filled with an astonishing baleful aura. Wait! Look, the divine light of the 10 grooves are connected together, don't they look like 2 words? Someone said in surprise. 2 words? Everyone was stunned and hurriedly checked carefully. Don't say it. It really looks like 2 words. The crowd was in an uproar. Qin Feiyang also looked at the 4 grooves suspiciously. Suddenly, his body trembled violently, and his face was full of disbelief. The divine light of the 10 grooves connected together didn't look like 2 words, but 2 words themselves. And these 2 words, he had seen them more than once. No sky. That's right. These were the 2 words on the stone door. Why would there be 2 words here? Qin Feiyang muttered to himself. Not only had he seen these 2 words before, but he also knew that it was a name. This was because the name Wuxian was written in the pill mantra. Moreover, the pill scripture was written by this person called Wuxian. Was this a coincidence? If it was a coincidence, wasn't it too much of a coincidence? If it was not a coincidence, did it mean that the miracle was created by Wu Tian? Not only did he create the pill scripture, he even created this miracle that even the war god was jealous of. Just who was this person? Rumble. Just as Qin Feiyang's mind was filled with doubts, there was a deafening sound. A crack appeared in the middle of the stone door, and then it slowly opened. The miracle has begun. Lu Xingchen and the others clenched their fists in excitement. Qin Feiyang also temporarily put aside his doubts and stared at the door that was getting bigger and bigger. What on earth was inside? But in the end, a trace of disappointment crept onto his face. The gap in the door was already half a meter wide, but it was pitch black inside. Nothing could be seen, only the sound of wind could be heard coming from inside. And even the sound of the wind was very weak. He couldn't feel any sense of danger. Didn't they say that the entrance to the miracle was very dangerous? Why does it look so ordinary now? Could it be that someone is spreading rumors? Everyone was suspicious. At the same time, everyone's heart was also active. If there was really no danger, then without the alchemy fire, could they still enter the miracle? Clang! After dozens of breaths, the stone door finally opened completely, like a pitch-black bottomless pit. Standing in front of the door, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel apprehensive. Although everything looked calm, experience told him that the calmer the place, the greater the threat. Whoosh! At the same time that the stone door was completely opened, the 10 clusters of alchemy fire swept out from the groove like lightning. As if they had a sensing ability, they flew in front of Qin Feiyang, the chief pagoda master, Emperor Hong, and Lu Xingchen respectively. And it was exactly the same as before. Floating in front of Qin Feiyang was still the heavenly thunder flame and the ice flame. Floating in front of the chief pagoda master was still the heavenly dipper flame. In front of Emperor Hong was still the profound sky flame. This made Qin Feiyang, Emperor Hong, and the chief pagoda master a little stunned, but Lu Xingchen was not surprised. Brother Qin, let's meet in the miracle. Lu Xingchen smiled at Qin Feiyang, and then led the alchemy fire and Mu Zhongyun into the stone door without looking back. Everyone, follow me. Seeing this, Emperor Hong hurriedly shouted. The people on Great Qin's side, including the imperial preceptor, immediately rushed to Emperor Hong's side. Emperor Hong grabbed the profound sky flame and swept everyone into the stone door. The chief pagoda master also did not delay for a moment and led Wang Su, Gong Sunbei, and the others into the stone door like lightning. Without exception. As soon as the people of the three major forces entered the stone door, they immediately disappeared from everyone's sight. The whole process took less than 3 breaths, and now only Qin Feiyang and the others were left in front of the stone door. The crowd behind looked at the stone door and were ready to make a move. The mysterious madam turned her head and scanned the crowd, saying, "I'll kindly advise you all, it's best not to go in. I don't believe that you would be so kind. If you don't let me go in, I'll go in and take a look." It was fine if the mysterious madam did not speak, but once she spoke, the crowd became restless. There were even a few one-star combat emperors who directly rushed into the stone door with a face of displeasure. However, after the few of them entered, there was no sound from the stone door. The mysterious madam said, "They've already lost their lives. It's just that outside, we can't hear their screams." "So fast?" Qin Feiyang was shocked. The mysterious madam said, "Without the protection of the alchemy fire, they will die the moment they enter." Qin Feiyang was secretly speechless. Old Qin urged, "Let's quickly go in too." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Wait." The mysterious madam suddenly said. "What's wrong?" Everyone looked at her suspiciously. The mysterious madam said, "Before you go in, I have to tell you one thing in advance, so that you won't be caught off guard." "Go ahead." Old Qin said. The dangers inside the divine ruin were unpredictable. The more they understood the situation in advance, the more insurance they would have. The divine ruin is randomly teleported. In other words, even if you go in together, you might not appear in the same place. So, after you go in, don't do anything. Look for your companions first. The mysterious madam instructed. Qin Feiyang's expression changed and asked, "How big is the first floor of the divine ruin?" "I don't know." The mysterious madam shook her head. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "Haven't you been there before? How can you not know?" The mysterious madam said, "The size of the divine ruin is not something you can imagine. In short, no one in this world knows how big the divine ruin is." "Then how do we find it?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Don't worry. There's a way that can let you find everyone easily. This way is the enslavement seal." The mysterious madam said. "Enslavement seal?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "That's right. The enslavement seal can peek into the other party's inner thoughts and can also sense the other party's approximate location. Although it's not as good as Mu Qing's omniscient eye, it can save you a lot of time." The mysterious madam said. "Is it really useful?" Qin Feiyang expressed his aptitude. One must know that it was a divine ruin. The rule force inside was very likely to block the enslavement seal's detection. "It's useful. When I first obtained the enslavement seal in the divine ruin, I immediately found someone to test it." The mysterious madam nodded. He. Didn't you say that the enslavement seal was created by you? You must have let it slip." Qin Feiyang smiled slyly. The mysterious madam was stunned and scolded with a smile, "You stinky brat, remember that you can't fly in the divine ruin, nor can you send messages, let alone open a portal." Qin Feiyang's heart sank. This was still a big problem. In short, "I don't care about others, but you have to protect my daughter well." Qin Feiyang was surprised. He turned his head and looked towards the direction of the voice, only to see 4 young figures rushing out from the gate of time and space like lightning. How could it be them? Chapter 1431. It was a man and 3 women. They looked ordinary, but they had an outstanding temperament. No matter where they were, they would be noticed immediately. Moreover, their auras were very strong. Even Qin Feiyang could not see through them. Swish! The 4 of them rushed to Qin Feiyang and bowed to the mysterious lady and the others. "Greetings, seniors. You are?" The mysterious lady was suspicious. The young man cupped his hands and said, "I am Ling Yu. These 3 are my friends, Feng Ranran, Luo Dan, and Zhao Yu." The mysterious lady was stunned and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. "They are also my friends." Qin Feiyang thought to himself. But he was puzzled. According to Lu Xingchen, these 4 people had mysteriously disappeared. Why did they suddenly appear now? Moreover, their cultivation had become so strong. Ling Yu turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "Brother Qin, long time no see." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "It has indeed been a long time. How have you been recently?" "After leaving the temple, we have been carefree and relaxed." "Naturally, we have been quite good." Ling Yu smiled. Elder Qin was surprised. "You were disciples of the temple?" "Yes. We came to the capital together with Brother Qin." Ling Yu nodded. "Then why did you leave?" Elder Qin frowned. Ling Yu sighed and said, "The temple is full of intrigue and intrigue. We really don't like this atmosphere." Elder Qin said, "Which place in the world doesn't have intrigue and intrigue? If you want to grow, you have to experience this." Elder Qin is right, but it is naturally best to hide and relax. Ling Yu smiled faintly and looked at Qin Feiyang. "I wonder if Brother Qin has any extra spots." "You are also going to the miracle?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "If not, why would we come to you?" Ling Yu smiled. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded. "Okay, I have a lot of spots anyway." "Thank you, Brother Qin." Ling Yu cupped his hands gratefully. "Count me in." Suddenly, a faint laughter rang out. Boom! Following closely, a terrifying aura surged out from the gate of time and space. "What is it?" Everyone looked at the space-time gate in shock. Soon, a gigantic creature flew out of the gate of time and space and landed in the sky above the Pill Pagoda Square. It was a large dog that was over 30 meters long. Its fur was dark red, and its entire body emitted a monstrous evil aura. What was even stranger was, there were actually 6 dog heads on the big dog's shoulders. Each of the dog heads was as big as a dustpan, with 6 pairs of eyes. 12 eyes, as if they were made of blood, emitting a ferocious glint. Looking at its appearance, could it be the legendary Hellhound? According to legend, the Hell God Hound is a divine beast that is responsible for guarding the gates of hell. It is extremely ferocious. The crowd immediately began to discuss. It really is the infernal divine hound. Old Man Qin and the others looked at each other. A smile crept onto Qin Feiyang's face. Because when he saw the Hell God Hound, he knew who it was. "Damn dog, can you wait for me? Why are you running so fast to reincarnate?" With an angry shout, a young man rushed out of the gate of time and space, staring at the Hell God Hound, his face full of anger. This person had a slender figure and a thin body. He had a hooked nose and his eyes were like those of an eagle, emitting a sharp light. That's right. It was Tan Wu. "Reincarnate, this emperor will also bring you along." The Hell God Hound snorted coldly, turned into a stream of light, and flew towards Qin Feiyang and the others fiercely. Tan Wu's face twitched, and he shouted, "Okay, if you have the ability, come with me, don't look for Qin Feiyang, directly break into the miracle. Get lost. This emperor won't do such a stupid thing with an idiot like you. If you want to die, go die yourself, don't drag this emperor into the water." The Hell God Hound snorted coldly and took the lead to fly in front of Qin Feiyang. He raised his arrogant head and glanced at the group of people. This pair of quarrelsome lovers really haven't changed at all. Qin Feiyang shook his head and couldn't help laughing. Kid, the last time I fell in your hands in the Magic Dragon Mountain Range, it was because this emperor was careless. Why don't we fight again now? The Hell God Hound's gaze turned and landed on Qin Feiyang, laughing. Qin Feiyang was stunned and shook his head, not interested. Not interested? I think you don't dare to. The Hell God Hound looked at Qin Feiyang provocatively. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Damn dog, can't you behave yourself? Tan Wu flew over and stared at the Hell God Hound angrily. The Hell God Hound laughed, looked at Qin Feiyang and Tan Wu, and said, "Why don't you two come together? Bastard! Do you believe that I won't take you to the miracle later?" Tan Wu was furious. "TSK, you can only use this to threaten this emperor." The 12 eyes of the Hell God Hound were full of disdain. Tan Wu couldn't help but feel powerless. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said with an embarrassed smile, "I've made a fool of myself. I'm used to it, it doesn't matter." Qin Feiyang held back his laughter and said. Hearing this, Tan Wu's expression became even more awkward. Qin Feiyang asked, "You guys are also going to the miracle?" Tan Wu nodded and said with a smile, "Of course, if you don't have any extra spots now, I won't force you." "Won't force you? Little scum, when did you become so open-minded? This emperor doesn't care about you. Anyway, this emperor must go to the miracle," the Hell God Hound said. Tan Wu's face was dark, his veins were bulging, and he said angrily, "With so many people watching, can't you leave me some face? You scoundrel, do you still need face?" The Hell God Hound was disdainful. Tan Wu was slightly stunned and roared, "Tell me clearly, when have I been a scoundrel?" The Hell Divine Hound said, "You shamelessly followed this emperor, isn't this called being a scoundrel?" "I shamelessly followed you? Do you still want face?" "Back then, when I went to see old Senior Qin, who was the one who insisted on following me, unable to be chased away? Coming to the miracle this time, who was the one shamelessly following me?" Tan Wu exploded in anger. He had really never seen such a shameless bastard before. Old Senior Qin. Qin Feiyang's heart turned cold and he sent a voice transmission, "You guys were at Uncle Yuan's place during this period of time?" "Yes." Tan Wu nodded. "Is he doing well now?" Qin Feiyang secretly asked. Tan Wu smiled and said, "He eats well and sleeps soundly. No one is better than him. I really want to meet him." Qin Feiyang secretly sighed and looked at the Hell Divine Hound and said with a smile, "Stop arguing, I still have a lot of spots in my hands. Who wants to argue with him? It's him looking for trouble all day long." The Hell Divine Hound said with a cold snort. "I'm looking for trouble?" Tan Wu pointed at his nose, staring at the Hell Divine Hound with a look of anger. All right, prepare to enter the miracle." Qin Feiyang hurriedly stood up to smooth things over. This pair of enemies, he had long seen before. If he did not forcefully interrupt them, there would definitely be no end to it. Hearing that they were about to enter the miracle, the Hell Divine Hound also immediately became well-behaved. Tan Wu and Ling Yu, 4 people also greeted. After all, they were also considered old acquaintances. "Let's go." Qin Feiyang looked at the stone door, let out a long sigh, and led the group of people into the stone door in large strides. The moment they entered the stone door, everyone's eyes fell into pitch-black darkness, unable to see their fingers in front of them. At the same time, a terrifying destructive aura enveloped over. In everyone's hearts, a sense of crisis and fear involuntarily welled up. But also at the same moment, Heavenly Thunder Flame and Frost Flame released divine light, condensing a barrier, protecting the group of people inside. At the same time, it also illuminated the path ahead. In front of them, there was a long passage, with no end in sight. And in the passage, it was filled with grey storms, and the destructive aura that enveloped them before came from these storms. Qin Feiyang said in surprise, "These are space-time storms?" "That's right. The power of the space-time storm is very terrifying. Even if it's a war god, it's difficult to escape death," the mysterious lady said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Tan Wu, the Hell Divine Hound, and Ling Yu's pupils suddenly shrank. The mysterious lady said, "There's no time to lose, let's go." Qin Feiyang nodded and led everyone to fly towards the end of the passage. "Help!" Suddenly, a cry for help came from behind. The group of people turned their heads and saw a few middle-aged men barging in, but they were instantly engulfed by the space-time storm and torn to pieces. This is the consequence of not listening to advice. The mysterious lady smiled coldly, without the slightest sympathy. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and flew towards the end while asking, "Will the stone door close?" "Yes." Lu Xingchen, Chief Pagoda Master, and Emperor Hong should have already brought the pill fire into the divine ruins. When we bring the heavenly thunder flame and the ice flame into the divine ruins, the stone door will automatically close, the mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyang asked, "Then when we come out, how do we open the stone door?" "Between the first and second floor, there is a vacuum area, and there is a stone door that leads to the outside. To open the stone door, you also need 10 types of pill fire. So you must take good care of the heavenly thunder flame and the ice flame," the mysterious lady warned. Qin Feiyang nodded. "I will also tell you the location of the first and second floors passageways in advance. The passageway is located in the southwest direction. You search along the way, and when you see a palm-like mountain range, you go to the highest mountain. The passageway to the second floor is on top of that mountain. But you have to be careful, because at the entrance of the passageway, there is a giant python guarding it," the mysterious lady said in a deep voice. "Then what is its cultivation level?" Qin Feiyang asked. "False god," the mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. Tan Wu and the others also looked extremely solemn. "Don't worry too much. That giant python is sleeping all year round. As long as you don't make too much noise, it won't wake up. Back then, we took advantage of its sleep to sneak past it and enter the passageway. But if it is in an awakened state, then you must not approach it. Wait until it falls asleep. Because it will not let go of any creature that appears in its sight," the mysterious lady said. Everyone nodded. Chapter 1432. The mysterious lady asked, "Then what are you worried about?" Qin Feiyang said, "The last time you entered the divine ruins, it should have been 10,000 years ago." The mysterious lady nodded. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "Then have you ever thought that 10,000 years ago, it was a false god? Today, 10,000 years later, would it have already stepped into the war god realm?" The mysterious lady was stunned, and said with a wry smile, "I really haven't thought about this." Qin Feiyang sighed, "If it has really stepped into the war god realm, then we can only pray that it has been sleeping." Tan Wu and the others also had a heavy heart. The Hell God Hound said, "This emperor is puzzled. Didn't they say that false gods can't enter the first floor? Why is there a pseudo-god level giant python? You have to ask the creator of the divine ruins. Because only he has this ability. Perhaps that giant python was left behind by that creator," the mysterious lady said. "Creator, Wuxian," Qin Feiyang muttered. "I really hope to meet this mysterious existence." While talking, 2 rays of light suddenly appeared in the passage ahead. "Is it the end?" Everyone stared at the 2 rays of light. Roar! But at this moment, a deafening beast roar sounded in front of them. Following closely, a huge black beast emerged from the storm. It was shaped like a violent ape, more than 100 feet tall. The pitch-black fur all over its body was like steel needles, emitting a bone-piercing cold light. How is this possible? Isn't the space-time storm able to kill even the war god? Why is there still a beast here? Qin Feiyang and the others turned pale with fright. Retreat! Tan Wu shouted. This giant beast was able to travel freely in the space-time storm. Its cultivation must have reached the peak of perfection, even surpassing the war god realm. Facing such an existence, even if there was Elder Qin and the other false gods, they would probably only die. Don't retreat. But before Tan Wu's voice faded, the mysterious lady shouted. Roar! The giant beast pounced towards Qin Feiyang and the others, roaring and baring its fangs. Both of his arms were as thick as buckets and filled with destructive power. It's not real. It's an illusion. The mysterious lady said. Illusion? Everyone was stunned. Yes. Everyone who enters will have to go through the test of this illusion. If you can't withstand the test and escape, you will be obliterated by the space-time storm even with the protection of the alchemic fire. So, don't run away now. You have to face it bravely. I remember that back then, 2 false divinities fled in fear, and ended up dying here. The mysterious lady said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang and the others broke out in cold sweat. If it wasn't for the mysterious madam, they would have really escaped. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. At the same time, they were cursing the person who created this miracle in their hearts. For a ferocious beast to suddenly appear in such a dangerous place, anyone would be frightened. Wasn't this a deliberate trap? The giant beast roared as it raised its dustpan-sized giant hand and slapped towards Qin Feiyang and his group. This scene was too lifelike. Whether it was the appearance of the giant beast or that terrifying ferocious power, it was no different from the real thing. Knowing that it was fake, but looking at this scene, Qin Feiyang and the others' hearts almost jumped out of their chest. When the giant palm came, Feng Ranran, Luo Dan, and Zhao Yu, these 3 women, even instinctively closed their eyes. But in the end, nothing happened. After the giant palm slapped down, it instantly dissipated like air. The giant beast in front of them also dissipated into nothingness. It's really scary. Ling Yu patted his chest with lingering fear. Yeah. If no one reminded us, we wouldn't be able to tell that this is just an illusion. Tan Wu said. TCH. Look at you guys, so what if it's real? If 1 comes, I'll kill 1. If 2 come, I'll kill 2. The Hell Divine Hound said disdainfully. Everyone rolled their eyes. This guy was more afraid than anyone before and even hid behind Tan Wu. Now that it disappeared, it ran out to show off. Tan Wu was indeed right. This guy was a shameless fellow. Everyone calmed down and looked at the 2 light spots again. The light spots had already become the size of a wash basin. There was a long distance between the 2 light spots. The mysterious lady said, the light spot on the left is the entrance to the 1st level, and the light spot on the right is the entrance to the 2nd level. Are you all ready? Qin Feiyang and the others nodded, their eyes full of anticipation. For ordinary people, entering such a place where everything was unknown, they would definitely be nervous and perturbed. But for monsters like Qin Feiyang and Ling Yu, there was only anticipation in their hearts. 5 breaths later. The light spots had become the size of a dustpan. 20 breaths later. The size of the light spots was already more than 3 feet, like 2 full moons, emitting a dazzling light. Finally, they saw the situation around the 2 light spots clearly. Within 1,000 feet around the 2 light spots, it was a vacuum zone. There was no wind, but there was nothing else. Fei Yang, I believe you can definitely become a god on the first level. I'll wait for you on the second level. Lu Jiajin said. Qin Fei Yang laughed, I won't make you wait too long. Lu Jiajin nodded. A few breaths later, a group of people entered the vacuum zone. The barrier formed by the heavenly thunder flame and the ice flame automatically dissipated. The moment the barrier dissipated, a powerful suction force emerged from the two entrances. Qin Fei Yang, the miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, Tan Wu, the Hell God Hound, and Ling Yu immediately flew towards the left entrance uncontrollably. The mysterious lady, Elder Qin, Lu Jiajin, the teacher of the miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, and the middle-aged man flew towards the right entrance uncontrollably. Mother, teacher, uncle, take care. Following the shout of the miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, the people on both sides entered the entrance and disappeared without a trace. On a vast plain. Suddenly. Following a scream, a figure fell from the sky like a meteorite, heavily smashing into the center of the plain, causing dust to fly everywhere. Damn it, how could it fall like this? If his cultivation was a little weaker, wouldn't he have fallen to his death? An angry curse immediately sounded from the dust. Following closely, a young man in white limped out of the dust, rubbing his buttocks as he cursed. That's right. This person was Qin Fei Yang. However, at this moment, his hair was disheveled and his face was dirty. He was in an extremely sorry state. Moreover, after that fall, his entire body felt as if it was about to fall apart. It was extremely sore. Originally, he thought that he would land steadily on the ground or be directly teleported to the ground. However, he didn't expect that he would fall from the sky. Wasn't this asking for his life? Fortunately, his cultivation was strong enough. Otherwise, he would have fallen to his death. Who? Qin Fei Yang exhaled, casually patted the dust off his body, and then raised his head to look around. Immediately. He frowned. This plain stretched as far as the eye could see. However, there was nothing on this plain. It could be described as not a single blade of grass growing. The ground was also covered with dry cracks, like a spider web. Moreover, looking around, he couldn't find a trace of a fierce beast or even a flying insect. Is this a miracle? Qin Fei Yang was stunned. Wait. Suddenly. Qin Fei Yang was stunned. Why was it so hot? He looked at his two arms. His skin was already dripping with sweat. Swish. He hurriedly looked up at the sky and his body suddenly froze. The sky stretched as far as the eye could see. There were no clouds for thousands of miles. However, there were actually 10 scorching suns hanging in the sky here. That's right. There were indeed 10 suns in the sky. The 10 suns were arranged in a row, like 7 stars in a row, emitting a scorching heat, burning this piece of land. No wonder there isn't even a blade of grass here. It turns out that there are 10 eunuchs. Qin Fei Yang muttered. Sweat dripped down like rain, dripping onto the rolling ground, making a sizzling sound. Buzz. Qin Fei Yang hurriedly waved his hand and condensed a battle chi boundary to isolate the scorching sunlight. As the temperature here was too high, even if he was a 4-star combat emperor, if he didn't stop it, he would become weak due to lack of water and might even lose his life. However, after the boundary appeared, he didn't feel cold at all. It was still so hot. What's going on? This time, Qin Fei Yang was dumbfounded. After repeated tests, he finally got a shocking result. The battle chi boundary actually couldn't isolate the sunlight. This meant that the boundary existed in name only and didn't have any effect at all. Isn't this too outrageous? Qin Fei Yang raised his eyebrows. It seemed that the most important thing now was to find a water source. However, would there be a water source here? On such a hot day, even if there was a water source, it would have dried up long ago. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. He never expected that a 4-star combat emperor would actually have a day where he would be worried about water. Fortunately, he still had the ancient castle. The ancient castle could definitely avoid the high temperature here. Swish! Qin Feiyang had an idea and was about to enter the ancient castle. However, suddenly, he raised his eyebrows and scanned the empty space. In the empty space, he actually couldn't sense the existence of essence. Essence was something that all living things in the world needed. For example, humans and beasts needed essence to cultivate. However, Qin Feiyang used to refine battle qi pills to cultivate. Therefore, he didn't pay much attention to essence. However, at this point, he couldn't ignore this problem anymore. This was because the battle qi pills would be used up sooner or later. Although he also cultivated a medicinal field, the medicinal field was in the ancient pagoda and the ancient pagoda was now in the hands of the old master. This meant that he couldn't count on the medicinal field anymore. Why didn't anyone tell me that there was a lack of essence here? Otherwise, I could have prepared more medicinal materials for battle qi pills. Qin Feiyang was extremely annoyed. He tried to fly, open the teleportation door, and revive the image crystal. However, none of them worked. The scorching temperature, the lack of essence, and all kinds of restrictions. For a cultivator, this is really a cruel place. Qin Feiyang sighed secretly. With an idea, he entered the ancient castle. Looking at this familiar place, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Because once he arrived here, his whole body immediately cooled down. He couldn't feel the heat at all. However, as the mysterious lady said, Fatso, Lu Hong, Viper, Dan Wangkai, Lu Zheng, Wolf King, Winged Snow Eagle, and other beasts had all disappeared without a trace. At this moment, he was the only one in the entire ancient castle. Don't say. Chapter 1433. I have to find everyone as soon as possible. Qin Feiyang muttered. The conditions here were too bad, and everyone was wandering outside. He was very worried. He closed his eyes and carefully sensed through the slave seal. The first thing he looked for was the white-eyed wolf. A moment later, he finally sensed the location of the white-eyed wolf. It was in the northeast direction, estimated to be tens of thousands of miles away from the plain where he was. Too far. Qin Feiyang muttered and sensed the location of Lu Hong and the others, as well as the double-winged snow eagle and the other beasts. In the end, he found that everyone was in different directions. They were also very far away from him. The white-eyed wolf was the closest to him. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and carefully sensed the location of the miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Soon. Qin Feiyang was stunned. The miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was actually near him. It was estimated to be only 500 to 600 miles away, located in the southeast direction. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang decided to find the miss of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion first. First, because this woman was the closest to him. Second, if something happened to this woman and the mysterious madam investigated, he couldn't bear the responsibility. After making the decision, Qin Feiyang immediately drove the castle and flew towards the southeast. However, he found that the scene in the void in front of him didn't move. The scene didn't move, which meant that the castle didn't move either. This, Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded on the spot. Could it be that the castle couldn't fly? He quickly closed his eyes and sensed the situation of the castle. He found that the castle that had turned into dust was not floating in the void, but lying quietly on the dry and cracked ground. He tried several times, but the castle still didn't move. How can I play like this? Qin Feiyang frowned. He thought that with the castle, he could avoid contact with the hot weather outside, but he didn't expect that the castle couldn't move. The castle that couldn't be moved, in this environment, to be honest, wasn't of much help to him. Looks like I can't be lazy in this place. I have to do everything myself. Qin Feiyang sighed helplessly. He left the castle and appeared on the plains. The scorching heat instantly enveloped them. In less than 3 breaths, Qin Feiyang was drenched in sweat. But now, he didn't have time to think too much about it. Using the phantom steps, he turned into a stream of light and sped towards the southeast. He was the only one left on the vast plain. Qin Feiyang's heart gradually became heavy under the hot weather and the deathly stillness. His brows were filled with wariness. Because in such an unknown place, variables could appear at any time. After galloping for about 100 miles, they still couldn't see the end of the plain. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang felt like something was flying behind him with a gust of wind. Qin Feiyang, who had been tempered by life and death situations all year round, naturally reacted quickly. He immediately stopped and turned his head to look. However, he couldn't see anything in the void behind him. There was no movement on the ground either. What's going on? Could it be an illusion? Qin Feiyang frowned, turned back and continued to gallop forward, but secretly paid attention. About a dozen breaths passed. Suddenly, the wind blew. Qin Feiyang suddenly turned around to look. This move could be said to be lightning fast. This time, he caught a bloody light and jumped into the crack under his feet like lightning. When Qin Feiyang looked down at the crack, it had disappeared. What the hell? Qin Feiyang was surprised. That bloody light was only the size of a palm and didn't have any aura. It felt like a ghost, difficult to catch. Boom! All of a sudden, Qin Feiyang's aura erupted. He stepped down and immediately retreated. Boom! Immediately, the place where he had stepped on before collapsed and sank crazily. In just a moment, a huge pit of hundreds of feet appeared. Dust and smoke filled the air. Qin Feiyang's eyes were like torches. With a wave of his hand, a strong wind whistled and the dust and smoke were quickly blown away. However, when the dust and smoke dissipated, there was nothing except for that huge pit. You really know how to hide. No matter what you are, you'd better not bother me again. Qin Feiyang scanned the huge pit and couldn't help but feel angry. He didn't want to waste any more time. With a cold snort, he turned into a stream of light and quickly left. As if hearing Qin Feiyang's words, that bloody light didn't appear again. Soon, Qin Feiyang sped for another 300 to 400 miles. However, he still couldn't see the end of the plain. It seemed to be really endless. However, on a small slope more than 10 miles away, he saw a person. It was a woman. She was wearing a light golden dress. Her figure was tall and slender, and her bearing was graceful. On her face, there was also a veil. Only a pair of clear eyes could be seen. Her long hair draped over her shoulders, giving off a sense of mystery. That's right. This woman was the miss of the Dragon Phoenix house. At this moment, she stood on the hillside and looked around, as if she was looking for something. However, at this moment, under the scorching heat, she was also sweating profusely, and her clothes were almost drenched. Soon, she also noticed Qin Feiyang, and a strange light flashed across her eyes, and she hurriedly rushed towards Qin Feiyang. Not long later, the two of them gathered together. Qin Feiyang asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." The miss of the Dragon Phoenix house nodded and asked, "What about you?" Qin Feiyang said, "I didn't encounter any danger. What were you looking for just now?" The miss of the Dragon Phoenix house looked around and said, "I feel like something is following me. But every time I look back, there's nothing there." "You actually noticed this too?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. What is it? You've encountered it too? The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House was surprised. Yes. I also saw a blood-red light, but because it was too fast, I didn't see its true appearance clearly. Qin Feiyang said solemnly. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House's heart sank. She scanned the plains and said uneasily, I keep having an ominous feeling. Let's leave this place quickly. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, let's go find the white-eyed wolf first. It's in the northeast. Northeast? We're in the southeast right now, isn't it the opposite? The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House frowned. Qin Feiyang said, there's nothing I can do about it. The white-eyed wolf is the closest to me, so I'll definitely look for it first. How far is it? The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House asked. Qin Feiyang said, according to my estimation, it should be 40 to 50,000 miles. 40 to 50,000 miles is the closest? The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House could not help but laugh bitterly. Don't dawdle, let's go. Qin Feiyang urged. He then used phantom steps and turned around to go back the way he came. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House hurriedly chased after him. Just as she was about to catch up to Qin Feiyang, a shocking killing intent flashed across her eyes. His eyes instantly turned blood-red. Following closely, she raised her arm and slapped towards Qin Feiyang's head. There was no sound or aura at all. Even Qin Feiyang, who was right in front of him, did not notice it. Qin Feiyang, be careful. However, at the same time, an anxious shout came from the left in the distance. This voice, Qin Feiyang was startled, and immediately looked to the left, only to see a woman wearing a light golden dress, waving her hand and shouting as she rushed over. What's going on? Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded on the spot. That woman was actually the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House. Wasn't the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House behind him? When did he run over there? Be careful behind you, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House on the left, seeing that Qin Feiyang did not realize the danger behind him at all, shouted loudly, her heart burning with anxiety. Behind me? Qin Feiyang was startled, he immediately turned his head to look, and his expression immediately changed. How could there be two Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House? At the same time, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House behind him also struck out with her palm, her mouth also releasing a terrifying sinister smile. At this time, it was already too late for Qin Feiyang to dodge. Because he discovered it too late. He had never thought that this Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House would sneak attack him from behind. However, after all, he had experienced countless life and death situations, and his battle awareness far exceeded that of ordinary people. In the nick of time, he tilted his head to the side, avoiding a fatal blow. At the same time, he activated the battle character art. His long hair and eyes instantly turned blood-red, and a monstrous battle intent surged out from his entire body. At the same time that she activated the battle character art, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House's palm landed, brushing past Qin Feiyang's ear and fiercely slapping his shoulder. Crack! Qin Feiyang's entire shoulder instantly shattered, flesh and blood flying everywhere. The excruciating pain caused his face to contort even more. Moreover, the ground below also shattered with a loud bang, causing dust and smoke to rise in all directions. Damn it! When the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House on the left saw this, she was instantly enraged. Bringing along a terrifying emperor's might, she rushed over. As they approached, without hesitation, she attacked the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House who had ambushed Qin Feiyang with her palm. Tsk tisk. The Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House laughed sinisterly, and without dodging, she waved her palm. Boom! The two palms met in an instant. A world-destroying aura instantly surged out in all directions like a torrent with the two of them as the center. For a moment, dust flew everywhere. The rumbling sound of the earth collapsing was deafening. In less than 5 breaths of time, the land within a radius of a few hundred miles had turned into a huge sinkhole. Puff! As for the 2 Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house, they were in a stalemate for a moment before spitting out a mouthful of blood and retreating a few hundred feet. Whoa! Suddenly, a violent wind blew in this area. The dust that filled the sky immediately surged into the sky along with the violent wind. Who are you? Following closely, a sinister voice sounded. The 2 Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house turned their heads to look, only to see that half a mile away, Qin Feiyang was half kneeling on the ground with a dusty face, his injured shoulder bleeding profusely. He actually didn't die. The 2 Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house were surprised. You want to kill me? You don't have the ability yet. Qin Feiyang slowly stood up, like an enraged beast. He stared at the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house who had ambushed him, and shouted, "Who exactly are you?" If he hadn't activated the battle character art in time, he might have really died on the spot. TSK, the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house licked her lips, her eyes flashing with a bloodthirsty light. Feiyang, are you alright? The other Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house quickly ran to Qin Feiyang's side and asked with concern. I'm fine. Chapter 1434. Although this woman looked exactly the same as the young Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house, she was currently filled with hostility. She was completely different from when he first saw her. This meant that this person was very good at disguising himself. However, facing Qin Feiyang's question, the woman kept grinning sinisterly. Her blood-red eyes were like a demon that was choosing people to eat. Not getting an answer for a long time, Qin Feiyang was about to lose his patience. But at this time, the young Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house said, "If I'm not wrong, she should be a ghost blood ant, ghost blood ant." Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled as he asked, "Are you talking about the ghost blood ant that is as famous as the ghost snake?" "That's right." The Dragon Phoenix house nodded. Qin Feiyang's face immediately darkened. He had read about the ghost blood ant in an ancient book in the Imperial Palace. This ghost blood ant was the same as the ghost snake, born without aura. However, the abilities of the two were different. The ghost snake's ability was to change the color of its skin and confuse one's vision. As for the ghost blood ant's ability, it was to transform. As long as it was a creature it had seen before, it could transform into the other party's appearance. Moreover, whether it was temperament or smell, there was no difference on the surface. The effect was even better than the illusory form pill. In short, the ghost blood ant was a creature that was very good at camouflage. Qin Feiyang calmed down the shock in his heart, turned to look at the young Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house, and asked, "You saw it just now?" Although the ghost blood ant's ability was heaven-defying, there was a prerequisite. Before transforming, it had seen the target of the transformation. In other words, since the ghost blood ant had transformed into the appearance of the young Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house, it must have seen her before. Yes. Not long ago, it ambushed me. However, I discovered it and it escaped. But I didn't expect to meet you and turn into my appearance to confuse you. The young Miss of the Dragon Phoenix house said in disgust. I was careless and didn't see any flaws. Qin Feiyang was also quite vexed. He looked at the ghost blood ant and asked, "How do you know that I know her?" Although the blood spirit ant could transform into the appearance of the Dragon Phoenix house's young mistress, before this, the blood spirit ant did not know that he was acquainted with her. Since they didn't know, how could the blood spectre ant have done it so flawlessly? Firstly, you were the one who spoke to me first. Furthermore, you did not have the slightest bit of malice when you spoke. It's not hard to tell. You two know each other from before. Secondly, there is only one possibility for humans to appear here. The miracle has already begun. You are from the outside world. Outsiders who enter the divine site are either friends or enemies. Do you still remember what you asked me when you saw me? You're asking me if I'm all right? His words are filled with concern. What does this mean? That means you're friends. The blood ghost ant sneered. I see. I didn't expect you to be so smart. It's a pity that you didn't use the right path. Since your identity has been exposed, then quickly reveal your true self. Let me see what you look like. Qin Feiyang said. Although he had seen the blood ghost ant in ancient books, this was the first time he had seen the real thing. TSK, the blood ghost ant scanned the two of them, and its entire body was suddenly filled with dazzling blood light. The blood ghost ant was directly drowned by the blood light. Although Qin Feiyang and the other could not see the situation inside the blood light, they could clearly sense that a terrifying aura was awakening. Bang! The aura became more and more terrifying. The wind howled, setting off a sandstorm. At this moment, the earth began to tremble violently. Cracks appeared one after another. Accompanied by an earth-shattering boom, they spread out in all directions. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang and the other looked at each other and could not help but become vigilant. Bang! In the end, the blood ghost ant's aura suddenly rose to a critical point. This critical point was the peak of the 9-star combat emperor realm. Not good. It should be the ant monarch. The young mistress of the Dragon Phoenix House's expression changed as she said in a deep voice. Ant monarch. Qin Feiyang was shocked. The ant monarch was more terrifying than ordinary blood ghost ants. Because it could command all the blood ghost ants. The fact that you humans have entered this place is a joyous hunt for us. But it's different from outside. Outside, we beasts are the prey, and you humans are the hunters. But here, you humans are the prey, and we beasts are the hunters. Little ones, the hunt begins. The blood ghost ant's voice sounded in the blood light. Squeak squeak, immediately. The entire plain was drowned by an ear-piercing sound wave. Immediately after, blood-red waves emerged from the cracks on the ground. They were everywhere in all directions. Qin Feiyang and the other looked at this scene and could not help but feel their scalps go numb. There were too many of them. They were all blood ghost ants. Some were only the size of a palm. Some were the size of a pot. Some were the size of a dustpan. There were also many blood ghost ants that were more than 10 meters, dozens of meters, and even hundreds of meters in size. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws. It was extremely terrifying. They looked very similar to ants. Their entire bodies were blood-red as they swarmed out. The entire ground was trembling and was soon drowned by the blood-red waves. So many. It seems that the blood light I captured earlier was one of them. Qin Feiyang's heart was extremely heavy. It turned out that there were so many blood ghost ants lurking underground. Hee, humans, you didn't expect that there would be a day when you humans would be hunted. The blood light quickly dissipated, and a huge monster appeared in Qin Feiyang and the others' line of sight. It's really an ant queen. The Dragon Phoenix House's young lady's face was as dark as water. This huge monster in front of her was the blood ant that pretended to be her. But compared to the other blood ants, this blood ant was too big. Its body was more than 1,000 feet long, like a huge mountain, standing in front of them, emitting a monstrous aura. The claws under its abdomen were even more terrifying. Each of them was more than 100 feet long, like giant blades, suffused with a dense blood light, revealing a bone-piercing sharpness. So ugly. Using the word ugly to describe you is a bit flattering. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The ant queen was stunned. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix House was stunned. The blood ghost ants that were swarming over from all directions also stopped in unison and looked at Qin Feiyang strangely. Was this person crazy? He was about to die, and he was still in the mood to criticize. Human, you must pay the price for what you said. Little ones, chop him into 8 pieces for this emperor. After coming back to its senses, the Ant Queen was furious. It raised its head and roared, its vicious aura soaring into the sky. Squeak squeak, immediately. The blood ghost ants from all directions swarmed towards Qin Feiyang and the others' direction. Their strengths were different. There were 9-star war emperors and 8-star war emperors. But without exception, none of the blood ghost ants that appeared now had a cultivation base lower than the war emperor. In other words, there were hundreds of thousands of emperor beasts charging towards Qin Feiyang and the others' direction. What are you doing? Do you think the trouble isn't big enough? Do you want to deliberately anger it? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said angrily. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, if we don't anger it, do you think it will let us go just like that? Then do you have any ideas? There are so many blood ghost ants, I can't kill them all. Even if I can kill them all, I will die of exhaustion. Moreover, the Ant Queen is a 9-star war emperor at the peak realm. The most important thing is, who knows how many more blood ghost ants are hiding underground. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang said, there's always a way out, let's take a look first. Boom! Before he could finish his words, the ground beneath their feet suddenly collapsed. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was shocked. She hurriedly grabbed Qin Feiyang and retreated. Just as the two of them left, a group of blood ghost ants swarmed out. The leader was the blood ghost ant. It was 50 to 60 feet tall, like a small mountain, and its ferocious aura was monstrous. And its aura had reached the level of a 9-star war emperor. Lowly humans, how dare you offend our emperor, kill. The moment the blood ghost ant appeared, it raised its claws and charged towards Qin Feiyang and the other two. The cold light was oppressive. Scram! The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house shouted. She waved her jade-like hand in the air and her battle chi roared, turning into a huge wave that rolled over. Clang! The moment the battle chi collided with the sharp claws, a deafening metallic sound was heard. Most importantly, facing the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house's all-out attack, the blood ghost ant's claws were not damaged at all. So hard? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was dumbfounded. One had to know. She was also a 9-star war emperor. You have to use a battle art to hurt it. Qin Feiyang said. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house said in a deep voice, quickly think of a way, these beasts are stronger than expected, I can't hold on for long. As soon as she finished, she released her aura. Battle chi poured out. Clang! At that moment, sword shadows shot out one after another. In the end, there were a total of 50 sword shadows surrounding the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. Each sword shadow was more than 100 feet long. It was as if they were condensed from ice, and cold currents swept in all directions. This world suddenly seemed to have entered a cold winter, and the cold air was bone-piercing. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Why was the battle art that the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was using similar to the Guiyuan sword art? Ice sword art, slash. Following the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house's shout, 50 sword shadows cut through the sky, bringing with them a monstrous might as they slashed towards the blood ghost ant. The blood ghost ant did not retreat at all. It raised its claws and slashed towards the sword shadows. Clang! The sword shadows and the sharp claws clashed, creating dazzling sparks. Clang! Suddenly, accompanied by an ear-splitting sound, one of the blood ghost ant's claws broke on the spot. Blood immediately gushed out from the broken part like a fountain. Human, you deserve to die. The blood ghost ant also let out a painful howl. Its huge body directly jumped up from the ground, and then pounced towards the 50 sword shadows and the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. The dozens of claws under its abdomen waved crazily, like a meat grinder. Humph! Sword art returned to 1. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house snorted coldly. The 50 sword shadows suddenly merged together, transforming into 1,000 feet long sword shadow. Woo woo! A cold wind blew. Frost appeared. The sharpness was even greater than before. Chapter 1435. I'll take your life with one strike. Slash. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion stared coldly at the ghost blood ant. The cold air emitted from her entire body was even more terrifying than the sword shadow. Clang! The sword shadow tore through the air as if it was splitting the heavens and earth apart. With a peerless sharpness, it slashed towards the ghost blood ant. Clang! Immediately, blood light surged. The ghost blood ant let out a wail and was directly split into 2 halves by the sword shadow. Blood flowed down like a waterfall, dyeing the ground red. Following closely, the sword shadow did not stop at all as it slashed towards the ant tide that was crazily surging forward. With a loud bang, the ground in front of him was instantly split open by the sword, creating a huge crack in the abyss. Large numbers of ghost blood ants were buried under the terrifying sword chi. The blood on the ground was like a stream, gurgling and flowing. But the dead ghost blood ants were nothing to the entire ant colony. It wasn't even an exaggeration. These ghost blood ants that died under the sword shadow were probably only 1% of the total. One could imagine. How many ghost blood ants were there on the plains? Looking at the densely packed and endless ant tide, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's heart sank to the extreme. She asked, "Have you thought of a way?" "There's nothing I can do." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "After thinking for a long time, this is the answer you're going to give me?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion glared at him angrily. Her battle chi surged out, turning into a frost storm that roared in all directions. Crack! Wherever the storm passed, a cold current swept across the ground. All the ghost blood ants were frozen by the ice. Following that, she waved her hand again. As the ice shattered, the blood ghost ants trapped within the ice mountain also shattered into pieces. In the blink of an eye, another large group of ghost blood ants died. This woman's methods are indeed not simple. Qin Feiyang muttered. However, there wasn't much point in doing so. This was because there were even more blood ghost ants pouncing on them. "Don't you have an ancient castle?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion said anxiously as she fought with the ants. "The castle can't fly here," Qin Feiyang said. "Can't fly?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was stunned, and asked, "Then what should we do? If this continues, I'll be exhausted to death sooner or later." Qin Feiyang said, "The only way is to kill our way out." Kill our way out? When the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's miss heard this, she could not help glaring at him. There were so many blood spectre ants, and many of them were 9-star battle emperors. Furthermore, there was an ant emperor eyeing them from the side. It would be strange if they could kill their way out. Qin Feiyang said, "Trust me, we definitely can." Seeing the confidence on Qin Feiyang's face, the people from Longfeng Pavilion calmed down. "I need a lot of fresh blood. Slaughter, begin." Qin Feiyang scanned the surrounding ant tide. Suddenly, his aura changed drastically, and a monstrous killing intent surged out. At the same time, a bloody kill character appeared between his eyebrows. That was right. It was the kill symbol art. As soon as the word kill appeared, a violent wind suddenly blew in this world. The blood on the ground turned into rivers of blood that flooded the sky and flowed into the space between Qin Feiyang's eyebrows. Boom! Qin Feiyang's cultivation instantly soared to 5-star Battle Emperor. So that's how it is. The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's miss came to a realization and attacked even more fiercely. Various battle arts continuously evolved, emitting a world-destroying aura. Woo-woo, squeak squeak, the blood spectre ants that were crazily swarming died one after another. Not a single drop of blood was left, all absorbed by the kill character between Qin Feiyang's eyebrows. Boom! His cultivation soared once again. 6-star Battle Emperor. What's going on? The Ant Emperor looked at Qin Feiyang, its huge eyes filled with shock. Previously, he was fine after being hit by its palm. Now, his cultivation had broken through consecutively. Why was this human's performance so unbelievable? Another dozen breaths passed. Blood gathered into a river. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's entire body was drowned in blood. The killing intent emitted from his body was even more shocking. Boom! His cultivation had once again soared to 7-star Battle Emperor. Squeak squeak. Suddenly, the Ant Emperor made a strange sound. Seeing Qin Feiyang's change, it couldn't help but feel uneasy. The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's miss looked at it in shock. The next moment, a surprising scene appeared. The ant tide that was surging from all directions suddenly stopped and burrowed into the ground without looking back. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the blood spectre ants on the plain were gone. What is it doing? Could it be that it was frightened by Qin Feiyang's aura and is preparing to escape? The Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's miss frowned. But very soon, her imagination was swallowed up by reality. The blood spectre ants had basically all burrowed into the ground, but there was still a portion left on the plain. There should be more than 2,000 of them. But, although there were only more than 2,000 blood spectre ants now, each blood spectre ant was 50 to 60 feet in size. They were like small mountains, waving their sharp claws, looking incomparably ferocious. And the blood spectre ants of this size were all 9-star Battle Emperors without exception. In other words, the Ant Emperor had already seen that Qin Feiyang's sudden increase in cultivation was related to blood, so it dismissed those weak blood spectre ants, leaving only these powerful subordinates. In this way, the two of them would no longer be able to kill wantonly. Without killing, there would be no blood. Without blood, Qin Feiyang's kill formula would not have much effect. To be able to see through the kill formula so quickly, one had to admit that the Ant Emperor was really smart. The Ant Emperor looked at the two of them and smiled contemptuously. It waved its claws and shouted, "Kill them for me." Swoosh! The 2,000-plus blood spectre ants immediately moved on the plain. Although they were very big, their speed was extremely fast. Even Qin Feiyang could only catch their shadows. In less than 5 breaths, more than 2,000 blood spectre ants formed a circle, surrounding Qin Feiyang and the Ant Emperor in the center. Boom! Following closely, the ferocious aura of a 9-star Emperor beast erupted in unison. Waves of blood qi rushed out from their bodies, turning into a blood-colored sea. With a destructive aura, it pounced towards Qin Feiyang and the Ant Emperor in the center. The ground cracked crazily, and dust flew everywhere. Seeing this, the heart of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house sank to the bottom. One had to know. These were more than 2,000 9-star Emperor beasts. Even a 9-star War Emperor at the peak realm would die in the face of such a bombardment, let alone her. She looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's entire body was still drowned in blood, and she couldn't see what he was doing at all. Although the other blood spectre ants had already retreated, there were too many blood spectre ants that had died at the hands of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. In a short while, Qin Feiyang was still unable to absorb all the blood. The blood-colored sea roared in the air, its baleful aura covering the sky and the earth. Just the baleful aura alone caused the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house to feel as if she had suffered a heavy blow. Her delicate body trembled, and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. She couldn't help but feel a sense of powerlessness in her heart. Drag it out a little longer. Qin Feiyang's voice suddenly came out from the blood. Heard of it? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house gritted her teeth, and waves of cold air continuously emerged from her body. Li Water Scripture, first move, weak water. She waved her hands, and the cold air around her immediately surged up, turning into waves of water that pounced towards the blood-colored sea. Crash! Boom! The waves surged into the sky, slapping the air and emitting a shocking divine might. Obviously, this Li Water Scripture was a divine art. Once the divine art was out, who could compete with it? The waves rolled forward with unstoppable force. The blood-colored sea continued to collapse, and the bodies of the 2,000 blood spectre ants in the surroundings were also trembling. Squeak squeak. Finally, accompanied by wails, more than 2,000 blood spectre ants flew out in unison, spitting out blood from their mouths. It works. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was surprised. Originally, she thought that the divine art might not be a match for it. This was because there were too many blood spectre ants on the other side, but she didn't expect that the result would be so easy to destroy. In an instant, her confidence soared. Her slender jade-like finger pointed in the air, and the roaring waves in the air became even more turbulent and ferocious, pouncing towards the blood spectre ants. Squeak! But at this moment, the ant queen let out that strange sound again. The 2,000 blood spectre ants that were sent flying immediately became spirited and stabilized their huge bodies. Immediately, a bloody light swept out from the top of their heads. More than 2,000 streaks of bloody light soared into the sky and quickly intertwined. Clang! In the next moment, a huge sharp claw appeared in the sky. The sharp claw was curved and could be thousands of feet long. It was completely blood-red, like the scythe of a death god, its sharpness tearing the heavens and splitting the earth. Seeing the appearance of this sharp claw, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house's expression changed, and her previous confidence disappeared. This was because this sharp claw actually carried a strong divine might. Human, don't underestimate us blood spectre ants. As long as we unite, the strength we can unleash will exceed your imagination. The ant queen sneered. Die, you ant! The 2,000+ blood spectre ants also roared in unison. Their sharp claws carried a peerless sharpness as they descended from the sky and smashed into the waves. Boom! A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. The waves immediately exploded and dissipated into nothingness. Then, the sharp claw tore through the sky, creating an ear-piercing sound as it flew towards the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. At this moment, even the void was distorted. With the divine art broken, the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was deathly pale. She stared at the sharp claw, a cold light flashing in her eyes. She suddenly roared, Li Water Sutra, second move, shocking waves. The cold air appeared once again, turning into a huge wave that rolled out. Boom! The moment the two met, the world trembled. A world-destroying wave of air crazily rolled out in all directions, and the land within 1,000 miles fell. Qin Feiyang also immediately swept up the blood around his body and entered the ancient castle. Puff! The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house was once again severely injured. Blood spurted out of her anger, and her face was completely pale. The 2,000+ blood spectre ants were also trembling. It was very obvious. The second move of the Li Water Sutra, shocking waves, was a level stronger than the first move, weak water. It's only a so-so. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house sneered. Is that so? The Ant Queen cackled, and a monstrous blood light suddenly rushed out from her 1,000-feet-tall body. It streaked across the sky and fused with the sharp claw. Boom! The sharp claw suddenly shook in the air as if it had been injected with chicken blood, releasing a divine might that was even more terrifying than before. At the same time, the sharp claw expanded crazily, as if a peerless ferocious creature was awakening. At this moment. Chapter 1436. Finally. The sharp claws that were originally thousands of feet long directly expanded to more than 10,000 feet, and their sharpness could destroy the world. The stalemate that had been going on all this time also collapsed at this moment. The raging waves that were blocking the sharp claws continued to collapse. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion also kept retreating, blood gushing out of her mouth. Waves were surging in his heart. It was just a group of beasts, how could they unleash such terrifying battle prowess? The creatures in this miracle could not be looked at with ordinary eyes. Let's see if you can still survive this time. The Ant Emperor laughed sinisterly and waved his claws in the air. That sharp claw shattered the second move like a hot knife through butter and mercilessly charged towards the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Before it even got close, that terrifying aura came crashing down. The ground beneath the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion cracked inch by inch. That astonishing pressure made the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion panic. Lee Water Scripture's third move, Black Water. She gritted her teeth and once again evolved the divine art. The cold ice aura surged, and waves of water appeared once again. But what was different from before was that the water that appeared now was actually black, like ink. However, the destructive power emitted by this black water was several times greater than before. Crash! The black water was like a torrent as it aggressively collided with the sharp claws. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening sound, the two of them were in a stalemate in the air again. They were evenly matched. What? The Ant Emperor was shocked. Obviously, he didn't expect the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion to have such a powerful move. But soon after, its eyes were filled with disdain, as if it was looking at ants. Little ones, come out for this emperor. It let out a long howl. Crack! Squeak squeak! Immediately, the earth shattered. The ghost blood ants that had sneaked into the ground earlier once again rushed out from the cracks. They were densely packed and innumerable. As soon as they appeared, they were led by the 2009 Star War Emperor Ghost Blood Ants. Waves of blood chi rushed out from their bodies and continuously surged towards the sharp claws. Boom! The sharp claws began to grow larger again, and their ferocious might became stronger. The black water was already showing signs of collapsing. These damned beasts, are they done yet? Even with the temperament of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's young lady, she could not help but feel angry and aggrieved at this moment. Lowly human, you can slowly taste despair. The Ant Queen laughed heartily. Like a king, she looked down at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. With the continuous addition of blood chi, the aura of the sharp claws became more and more terrifying. Boom! All of a sudden, the black water dispersed. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion spat out another mouthful of blood. There was a sense of weakness between her brows that could not be dispersed. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to endure the continuous heavy injuries. You've completely pissed me off. Her eyes suddenly flashed with a shocking light. Frost chi poured out like a waterfall, going against the flow and rushing into the sky. Voila! The next moment, a vast ocean appeared in the sky above the plain. But the strange thing was, the other half was black water. Half of it was clear cold water. Other than the fact that it was a little cold, it was no different from normal seawater. As the wind roared, huge waves rose from both sides, covering the sky. Lightning of water. At this moment, the gaze of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion became incomparably sharp, like the edge of a blade. As her voice fell, the black water and the frigid water suddenly blended together. Ka-cha. Boom. Immediately, a miraculous scene appeared. The two types of seawater intertwined and actually turned into streaks of black and white lightning power. The sound of thunder resounded through the heavens and the earth. And every bolt of lightning contained a divine might that could destroy the heavens and the earth. All of you, be destroyed. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion raised her head and roared. Her clothes fluttered and her black hair danced wildly. She was like an ice fairy that had descended to the world. Ka-cha. Immediately, the power of thunder and lightning that roared in the sky was like the curtain of the Milky Way, pouring down in torrents. Before the power of thunder and lightning landed, some of the weaker blood ghost ants screamed miserably. Under that terrifying divine might, their bodies exploded, and blood splattered in all directions. Emperor. Her divine art is too powerful. I'm afraid we're not her match. The more than 2009 Star War Emperor blood ghost ants couldn't help but look at the Ant Emperor worriedly. Don't panic. We still have countless companions. As long as we work together, even if she has heaven-defying abilities, she won't be able to escape death today. Brats below, quickly support this emperor. The Ant Emperor roared. Boom. The ground suddenly trembled violently. Streams of blood chi continued to shatter the ground and rushed out from the depths of the ground. There were millions of them. If one were to look down from the sky now, they would definitely be stunned by this shocking scene. The entire plain was enveloped by blood chi. And all the blood chi was rushing towards the sharp claws. The sharp claws grew bigger and bigger. 2,000 feet. 3,000 feet. 4,000 feet. In the end, it exceeded 5,000 feet. It was like a huge mountain in the sky in front of the Ant Emperor. That monstrous ferocious aura had increased by several times. No matter how you struggle, you're destined to become a delicious meal in this emperor's mouth today. The Ant Emperor looked down at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Its fierce eyes were suffused with a bloodthirsty light. The other blood ghost ants also flashed with a fierce light and laughed sinisterly. Clang! As the Ant Emperor waved its claws, the sharp claws immediately rushed into the sky and faced the power of thunder and lightning. Ka-cha! Clang! The power of thunder and lightning crazily bombarded the sharp claws. Gradually, traces of cracks appeared on the sharp claws. However, the power of thunder and lightning immediately dissipated when it hit the sharp claws. How could this be? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion's weak face was filled with disbelief. Even the fourth move of the Lee Water True Scripture was unable to break the killing move of these beasts. She suddenly lowered her head to look at the ground. Just how many blood spectre ants were hidden underground? Ka-cha! With the last loud sound, all the power of thunder and lightning was annihilated. The sharp claws were also shattered. However, with the continuous influx of blood chi, the broken parts were all repaired in less than 3 breaths. The aura it emitted was once again restored to its peak state. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was dumbfounded when she saw this scene. If it was repaired so quickly, didn't that mean that the previous battle was meaningless? Now, she was already covered in wounds. How could she face this group of terrifying creatures? However, she was really unwilling to lose her life as soon as she entered the divine ruins. Qin Feiyang, what are you doing, you bastard? If you don't come out to help, just wait to collect my corpse. She roared angrily. Even if that human comes out, to me, he is just a delicious meal. The Ant Emperor laughed sinisterly and waved his claws. The sharp claws immediately soared into the sky and charged straight towards the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. Everyone is a delicious meal in your eyes. Are you that hungry? But at this moment, a playful voice suddenly sounded. Following closely, Qin Feiyang appeared out of thin air in front of the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion. His blood-red hair fluttered in the wind, and his killing intent soared into the sky, as if a god of death had returned. And the arm that was previously shattered had already been reborn. The Ant Emperor sized up Qin Feiyang, his pupils constricting. He had actually broken through to the 8-star War Emperor. What kind of heaven-defying divine art did this person master? However, a mere 8-star War Emperor was nothing. The Ant Emperor laughed mockingly, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "That's right, this emperor is too hungry, because it has been too long since I tasted the flesh and blood of you humans." He. Qin Feiyang smiled, looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion behind him, and said, "I'm sorry to have made you wait. Why did you only break through to the 8-star War Emperor?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion frowned. "The blood just now was only enough for me to stack my cultivation to the 8-star War Emperor." Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. "Then what should we do?" The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion immediately panicked. Even she, a 9-star War Emperor, was no match for the Ant Emperor, let alone Qin Feiyang, who was only an 8-star War Emperor. "What should we do?" Qin Feiyang glanced at the Ant Emperor and the surrounding blood ghost ants. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he said, "Even if it's just an 8-star War Emperor, it's enough to kill them all." Boom! Roar! As soon as he finished, accompanied by a loud dragon roar, the divine dragon seal instantly appeared out of nowhere, and its mighty divine might shook the surroundings. Divine art? The Ant Emperor was slightly stunned. He looked at the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion and said contemptuously, "You'd better tell him now that it's impossible for the divine art to defeat me, not to mention that he's only an 8-star War Emperor. Don't waste your energy." The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was silent as she stared at the divine dragon seal. Her heart was filled with great confidence towards the divine dragon technique. Qin Feiyang also turned a deaf ear. He raised his hand and waved gently. The divine dragon seal immediately expanded in the wind and rushed into the sky. In the blink of an eye, it grew to thousands of feet. It was like a meteorite, emitting a monstrous might. The sharp claws also came down. Boom! The two colossal creatures collided with a loud bang. The divine dragon seal shattered on the spot, and the purple-gold divine light illuminated the sky. A trace of blood also flowed out from the corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth. But at the same time, the sharp claws also broke with a crack. The Ant Emperor was dumbfounded. The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion was in high spirits. Although the sharp claws were not directly shattered, one had to know that Qin Feiyang was only an 8-star War Emperor now. If it was a 9-star War Emperor, he would definitely be able to crush them easily. This also proved that the divine dragon technique could completely defeat these blood spectre ants. This was because the second and third forms of the divine dragon technique were more powerful than the first form. It also proved that the divine dragon technique's level was higher than Holy Water scripture. It seems that I've underestimated you. But it doesn't matter because no matter what you do, you can't completely destroy it. The Ant Emperor, who came back to his senses, smiled contemptuously at Qin Feiyang. Blood chi surged and crazily rushed into the sharp claws. Clang! The sharp claws that were broken in two immediately began to repair. This is a little interesting. Qin Feiyang looked at the sharp claws curiously. Even though Zhang Xian had no idea how the claw came to be, he could tell from its current appearance that it was a god artifact. Strictly speaking, it was even more terrifying than a divine artifact. This was because divine artifacts were divided into grades and grades. With grades, there was a limit. However, this sharp claws did not have a limit. The more blood spectre ants there were, the stronger their overall cultivation, and the greater its power. There was no limit to it. It could be said that this kind of creature was favored by the heavens and envied by others. In the blink of an eye. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.